Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Dean Kilford.
Well, a very good afternoon and welcome to Football Live, powered by NairaBet, where our team of fantastic reporters bring you all the goals as they go in across the footballing world. And we're less than 10 minutes away from the early Premier League games kicking off. Crystal Palace host Fulham and Wolves travel to Luton Town. But let's head straight to the Etihad Stadium, where Patrick Norrit can bring us the team news ahead of Manchester City versus Nottingham Forest. This is just the 9th Premier League fixture between these two great teams, and they're currently locked at 2 wins apiece. Here to see if Forest can cause an upset against the champions is, of course, Patrick Norrit. Good afternoon, Patrick.
Good afternoon, Dean, and good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Football Live. Yeah, at the Etihad, where you got Manchester City taking on Nottingham Forest, and Man City on their last outing in the Champions League won 3-1. And with regard to the team news, they make just two changes. Gomez and Ake come out, and Ayenji and Guardiola comes in. Apart from that, it's the same side that played against Red Brave. With regard to Forest, they drew their last game, 1-1 against Burnley, and they make 5 changes. Steve Cooper make 5 changes. Out goes up McKenna, Worrell, Mondial, Mangala, Mondial, Hudson-Odoi, and also Angela. And comes in Dominguez, Tavares, Aurier, and Nafiel, and Bowley comes in. So 5 changes. And I was looking forward to watching Hudson-Odoi play, but he's on the bench, unfortunately. But he played well last week, so I'm going to enjoy this one. So looking forward to this one to see whether Manchester City can keep their 100% record going.
Indeed, Patrick, 100% record they've got. Forest have looked good, though, and they almost sprung a surprise result on Manchester City's neighbours, Manchester United, a couple of weeks ago with a fast start that afternoon. Can you see them getting in amongst the champions' early doors here?
With regard to them making 5 changes, I watched their last game against Burnley. I was very impressed with Hudson-Odoi. A steal at 3 million from Chelsea. I think he's going to try to keep it tight and then to see if he can change the game. Obviously, with his City, if City score first, then he might change it early. I think they'll keep it tight and City's going to dominate and see what happens. So I'm looking forward to this one.
Brilliant stuff. Well, thank you. We'll be back with Patrick very, very shortly, as and when any action happens at the Etihad Stadium between Manchester City and Nottingham Forest. Well, as well as the Premier League, we also have a big game already underway in the Bundesliga. Bayern Munich, fresh from that thrilling Champions League victory over Manchester United, are hosting Bochum. Harry Kane already has 5 in 5 to start his career in Germany. And there's already been a couple of goals in this one. To see if Kane's already added number 6 to his tally is our very own Gav Mack. Gav, how's this one going?
Yeah, it's all one-way traffic here at the Allianz Arena. Bayern Munich 2, Bochum 0. Harry Kane indeed has got himself on the score sheet. Fantastic goal in the end there from Kane. A brilliant run from Davies, who ran out of space, but his pass took a deflection off defender Ivan Ordet, landing at the feet of Kane, slotting in his 5th goal, 5th Bundesliga goal and his 6th goal in 6 games. Choupo-Moting opened the scoring after just 4 minutes. Ball squared by Kingsley Coman, but it is all one-way traffic here. Bayern Munich 2, Bochum 0. We've played 24 minutes.
So Harry Kane continuing to flourish in life in the Bundesliga and for Bayern Munich. Well, later on this afternoon, we'll have reporters in place at the Maypie Stadium as Sassuolo host Juventus, as well as the Premier League fixture between Brentford and Everton. But let's head around the grounds in our 3 o'clock kickoffs, and let's just get some very quick team news ahead of the game between Luton Town, the Premier League newcomers looking for their first points of the season. They're hosting Wolves in the first top-flight meeting between these two teams for 39 years. Covering all the action from Kenilworth Road is Matt Temporal. So, Matt, any changes in the starting lineups for either of these two teams?
Good afternoon. Is today the day we finally see Luton Town truly arrive in the Premier League? They have lost every game so far, and manager Rob Edwards has made 2 changes to his side as Ireland international Kyodozi Ogbene and Alfie Doughty come into the starting 11. Amari Bell makes his 100th start for the Hatters. Wolves would have also liked a better start to the season. They've picked up just 3 points so far. They're unchanged from their defeat to Liverpool last weekend. It's an interesting game, this, Luton Town really need to make Kenilworth Road a fortress if they're going to have any hope whatsoever of staying in the Premier League this season.
Indeed, and that Wolves team, they were so dominant for so long against Liverpool until finally succumbing. Do you think they'll be on course for an away victory today? Will they look at this one and see 3 points as the goal for them? Of course, I mean, every team does going into every game, but will they fancy their chances at Kenilworth Road?
Well, I think Wolves always fancy their chances because they often play teams off the park, but the one thing they struggle with is putting the ball in the back of the net. We see that over and over again for multiple years now. The only difference today is they're playing against a team who are really struggling to adapt to Premier League football, and they haven't been keeping the ball out of the back of their own net themselves. So there might be a lot of goals in this game. And we'll see. Luton Town really need a win just as much as Wolves. So we're very close to kick-off here at Kenilworth Road.
Brilliant stuff. We'll be back with Matt as soon as any action gets, as soon as we get any goals or any action, indeed, any shots on target. It should be a thrilling one at Kenilworth Road. The last of our featured 3 o'clock kickoffs is a London derby between Crystal Palace and Fulham. This is, in fact, the 50th meeting between these two teams. Last season, the visitors ran away with a 3-0 Boxing Day victory, but that's their only win in the last 7 against the Eagles in the Premier League. Jordan Uckley is in place at Selhurst Park to bring us up to date with the team news. Good afternoon, Jordan.
Good afternoon, Dean. Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, at Selhurst Park, we have Crystal Palace versus Fulham. Crystal Palace will be happy to have Jordan Ayew and Guehi available. Both have recovered from injuries to start in the starting 11 today. Berichi Eze continues to play in that central midfield role, the player of Nigerian descent. He is the most successful dribbler in the Premier League, and something tells me he's going to extend his lead today. No place in the starting lineup for the Nigerians, Calvin Bassey and Alex Iwobi in the Fulham lineup, and Carlos Vinicius will be unhappy to miss out after he scored in the last match against Luton. Raul Jimenez starts up front today. But yes, it's an exciting one. Both teams on 7 points. So looking forward to this one at Selhurst Park, Crystal Palace versus Fulham.
Indeed, thanks very much for that, Jordan. Fulham, if they win today, could claim double points from their first 6 fixtures for just a 3rd time in their history in the top flight. Let's just catch up with the games in the Bundesliga. Just going through, it's about half-hour mark in those 2:30 kickoffs there. It's currently Augsburg 1, Mainz 1. Borussia Mönchengladbach 0, RB Leipzig 0. As you heard, the game we're featured and covering here on Football Live, Bayern Munich 2, Bochum 0. It's Dortmund 0, Wolfsburg 0, Union Berlin 0, Hoffenheim 1. And the late kickoff will bring you bang up to date with the goals later on in this programme. Werder Bremen taking on FC Köln. I should also tell you in Serie A, the game is at the San Siro. It's AC Milan 1, Verona 0. But there has been another goal in the German league in the game we're featuring, Bayern Munich versus Bochum.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
And to tell us which way it's gone, let's join our very own Gav Mack. Are Bochum back in it?
Let's be honest, Bochum were nowhere near going to be able to compete with the strength of Bayern Munich. It is Bayern Munich 3, Bochum 0. A bullet header from the Dutchman, Matthijs de Ligt. The corner was delivered in by Joshua Kimmich, and he was unchallenged there and was able to rise above everybody else and find the back of the net. We have played just 29 minutes, and I'm worried that this might be a 3rd 7-0 victory for Bayern against Bochum in recent history against for Bayern. Bayern Munich 3, Bochum 0.
Bayern certainly making easy work of Bochum in the early game kickoff in the German Bundesliga. Elsewhere in the Liga in Spain, it's nearly full time. We're in the 5th additional minute in stoppage time. There's just been an 8th goal in that game. It's Girona 5, Mallorca 3 now. Mallorca just grabbing a goal to pull one back to gain some kind of consolation in that one. I've certainly seen as it was 4-1 at the half-time interval. 3 o'clock now, teams just kicking off. Games just kicking off around the Premier League. Let's just check back in at the Etihad, where the game hasn't quite kicked off yet, but the excitement's building in the game between Manchester City and Nottingham Forest. Patrick Norris, Manchester City unbeaten. Can anyone stop this juggernaut of a team?
I was just thinking, right, looking at Pep Guardiola, having a chat with Stu Cooper right now. They're like a machine up there. The team's a machine. It doesn't matter who drops out. Still can feel a strong team. The thing is, no one's talked about De Bruyne not playing. He's injured, but it just doesn't matter. I mean, today you got Grealish on the bench. Just saw him having a little chat and a laugh with the manager. And I just think that it all depends how Forest decide to play this. Do they sit back and absorb the pressure and try to hit him on the break? Of course, they've now lost a player which has gone to Tottenham. Of course, with Johnson is gone, so they're not going to play that way anymore. So I think they are a possession-based team. It'd be interesting to see how City start. We know what's going to happen. City's going to dominate, and hopefully Forest see if they can catch them on the break. We'll have to wait and see. We're about a minute to go now. They're about to start. So let's see what happens.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you, Patrick, for there. He'll bring us up to date as the action takes place and gets underway in that game between Manchester City. 5 wins from 5, sitting pretty on top of the Premier League. Can anyone stop them? Well, no one has so far. Let's see if the Sheriff of Nottingham and his troops can storm into the Etihad and steal some points from Manchester City. Let's look at the early games in London. Let's go to Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace taking on Fulham. Roy Hodgson, in charge of Crystal Palace. He's got good ties with Fulham. How were things started in that one there, Jordan?
So far, it's Crystal Palace, starting with some positivity. Yeah, like you said, Roy Hodgson, he's had a great start this season. This is actually Crystal Palace's best start to the campaign in 3 years. And Roy Hodgson has a brilliant record against Fulham. He's actually unbeaten against Fulham. So he'll be hoping for a home win today to just keep up that fantastic record that he's got against Fulham. But of course, we know Fulham can be a dangerous side. They've got Iwobi on the bench that has a good relationship with Marco Silva. So this game, you never really can tell what's going to happen in this one. But so far, it's Crystal Palace starting on the up. So it's Crystal Palace 0, Fulham 0.
The home side in the ascendancy there, as one might expect. The home fans behind them. Crystal Palace taking on a Fulham side that are still potentially struggling, coming to terms with the loss of their talisman and star striker in recent season, Alexander Mitrovic. Kickoff underway at the game at Kenilworth Road. Luton Town taking on Wolves. Big game for both teams. Wolves struggling for goals, although their performances are impressing their fans, so to speak. For Luton Town, points very much on the agenda here this afternoon. To see how this game has started, let's rejoin Matt Temporal to see if the home side has started on the stronger foot.
It's quite difficult to say which side has started on the stronger foot. It's been quite scrappy, quite stop-start in the first few moments of this game. Luton look like they've set up with a back three, which I think would probably say a lot about their game plan. Quite defensive. Get the wing-backs up the pitch and get the balls into the box to Carlton Morris, who you have to say is their talisman. He might not have shown it so far this season. But they need to try something different, Luton, to get some points on the board. Wolves at the moment just sitting back themselves and defending because the crowd are up for this one, and Luton will be looking to take advantage of that.
Absolutely, indeed. Okay, so nothing happening there. Thank you for that matter. Update Luton versus Wolves. As soon as any action there from Kenilworth Road, we'll be straight back to him. Let's go straight back to the Etihad, where Manchester City starting to show their dominance in the early stages. Patrick Norrit.
Yeah, dominance, kept the ball about 10 passes together, a little through ball from Rodri to Haaland, and he was foul at the edge of the box. So it looks like, we've 3 minutes gone. This is, I think, his first touch. I think Forest might get a chance to get the ball. So with 3 minutes gone, it's Manchester City 0, Forest 0.
So still Manchester City, Nottingham Forest. No goals in the opening few minutes in our Premier League games. In fact, there has been a chance in the game between Crystal Palace and Fulham. Let's rejoin Jordan Okoli to see which way it's gone.
Yeah, it was Crystal Palace started on the up, but now Fulham are starting to turn it up on Crystal Palace. It was great link-up play between Robinson and Andreas Pereira. Robinson controlled the ball well and played Andreas Pereira in. And he could have maybe crossed it, but instead he opted for the shot from the left-hand side. and it was quite comfortable for Sam Johnstone, but just early warnings for Crystal Palace on their right-hand side. Fulham were very, very comfortable with breaking through the lines, and somewhat of a chance there for Andreas Pereira with 4 minutes gone. Crystal Palace 0, Fulham 0.
Still 0-0 there. Robinson, sort of unsung fullback, the American, certainly gets in with his fair share of assists and certainly an integral part of Fulham's attacking play as well as being solid defensively. Let's go back to Germany in the game between Bayern Munich and Bochum. Bayern not just in cruise control, I think they've taken the foot off the pedal, haven't they, Gav?
Yeah, they're taking things easy now. It's, what are we on, 36 minutes now. Bayern 3, Bochum 0. Bochum really don't have anything, and despite them having a relatively decent start to their season, they still are yet to pick up their first victory. And you can show they're not playing with an out-and-out striker. They're playing 2 wide men up front. Garnet and Antoine Jay coming back into the team lineup as well. But Bayern Munich in full control. They've just got a corner right now, which Kimmich is about to whip in as well. 37 on the clock. Bayern Munich 3, Bochum 0.
There's still 3-0 there. Wonder if we'll get any more goals before the break at the Allianz Arena. Bayern Munich 3, Bochum 0. RB Leipzig just had a goal disallowed in their game against Borussia Mönchengladbach. It's still goalless there. There has been a goal in the Championship. Ipswich 1, Blackburn Rovers 0. Ipswich flying high. What a great start to the season they've had, and they've already taken the lead inside 5 minutes in their game against Blackburn Rovers in the English Championship. Goalless in the Premier League games. It's Crystal Palace 0, Fulham 0, Luton Town 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0, Manchester City 0, Nottingham Forest 0. Meanwhile, we've got the game going on in Bayern Munich, and it did involve a player that's very familiar with the Premier League. And meanwhile, there has been a goal in the Premier League.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
And it's Manchester City have made the fast start against Nottingham Forest. It's Manchester City 1, Nottingham Forest 0. Phil Foden with the goal for the home side. We will join Patrick Norrit very, very shortly to get an update of that one. In the meantime, whilst we're waiting, let's hear from Harry Kane, the man who's very much hot on the goals on Bayern Munich's midweek Champions League victory over Manchester United.
Yeah, I think a crazy finish. I think for the majority of the game, we really controlled it, dictated the tempo. Obviously went 3-1 ahead. And then, yeah, we just kind of lost a bit of concentration there in the last 5 minutes. And thankfully, we was able to hold on to the lead. But overall, it's a really good start to the campaign against a tough side in Man United. Yeah, it's been nice. It's obviously always great to score, but as always, always room for improvement. So we started the season well. We know we can improve, but I feel like we're building towards that. So yeah, we can just enjoy this, and we've got a quick turnaround and another home game here on Saturday.
Well, it's like timing is everything. Bayern Munich were in the clip we just played you there, and Bayern Munich have just scored.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Well, let's find out if Harry Kane did get that fourth Bayern Munich goal. Gav Mack is here to tell us.
No, he did not get the fourth goal, but he was doing what he was doing best at Tottenham, as well as scoring goals, getting assists. He saw the run from Leroy Sané, who was able to run through on goal. He opened his body up and slotted it past the goalkeeper, Manuel Riemann. And this is going to be an embarrassing scoreline, I think, for Bochum. He needs to do everything they can to try and stop this from turning into an embarrassment, really. Could be double figures by the end of this. Bayern Munich 4, Bochum 0. We played 40 minutes.
40 minutes, 4 goals. At that rate, I might run out of fingers to count the goals on. Meanwhile, let's go back to the Etihad. Patrick Norrit is here to describe that Phil Foden goal.
Oh, yeah, what a goal it was. And I counted the passes, about 7 passes from the keeper to the back four into midfield. Then the ball got to Doku. Doku put it inside in the middle. Rodri got it. And it was an overlap by Walker on the right-hand side. He then got it, passed it back into Foden. Bottom left-hand corner goal. What a goal it was. 5 passes from the back. It was wonderful. So it's with 9 minutes gone, Manchester City 1, Nottingham Forest 0.
So Manchester City 1, Nottingham Forest 0. The goals as they go in on Football Live. And you are listening to Football Live.
Sports Radio, 88.9 Brila FM.
Coming up tomorrow on Football Live with Chris Baldwin. Arsenal taking on Tottenham Hotspur. Aston Villa go to Chelsea. Live and exclusive on Brila FM.
Take Brila anywhere, everywhere.
Yes, you can take Brila with you anywhere, everywhere.
The Brila app is available for free download on Google Play. It is also there on the Apple iTunes Store. Yes, on Google Play and the Apple iTunes Store.
Look out for the Brila football and microphone logo with the letters BRILA in green colour.
That is our authentic app. It gives you Brila FM, Brila.net, BrilaSports.tv and all the extra betting tips, live score, plus our Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Google Plus and YouTube posts.
Sports fun. You can post your videos and eyewitness reports.
Brila, BRILA. Available for download on Google Play and the Apple iTunes Store.
You are listening to Football Live. Live and exclusive on Brila FM.
The Premier League, the Bundesliga, Serie A, La Liga.
4 hours of football every Saturday and Sunday on Brila FM with Football Live.
You are listening to Football Live on Brila FM 88.9 and 101.1 FM.
Predict 6 correct scores to win a life-changing 20 million naira. Naira 6 is the new and exciting free prediction game to play at www.nairabet.com. We challenge you to predict the scores of 6 pre-selected fixtures, usually from the Premier League. Guess all 6 correct and the prize is yours. The guaranteed jackpot will be up for grabs each week, with plenty of prizes for runners-up. The best thing about Naira 6 is that it is completely free to enter. All you need to do is log into nairabet.com and click the free tab. Select Naira 6 and enter your predictions. Wait for the final scores. So what are you waiting for? Available to registered players only. 1 entry per person. Must be over 18 to sign up. Full terms and conditions apply. Please gamble responsibly.
You are listening to Football Live.
Let's get back to the action on Football Live. Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Dean Kilford.
Well, a very warm welcome back. Let's go around the grounds. We'll start at the Etihad. Manchester City leading with that Phil Foden goal against Nottingham Forest. How have the visitors responded to that setback, Patrick?
They haven't been able to respond because they can't get the ball. What's happening is they're not really closing down. They're just sitting in a low block and at a 4-5-1 formation. All City are doing is just passing the ball around, but not to panic yet, because I think if they go 2-0 down, then there's a panic. At the moment, they're keeping it tight, trying to make sure City don't. They're trying to force City wide all the time. And what City are doing are overloading the wide areas, like walk on one side and then you've got the left back on the other side. That's what they're trying to do. But at the moment, they're trying to keep City away as much as they can and try to get them on the break. The problem they've got on the break, they haven't got that pace. So they have, because Johnson not being, like I said earlier, they have to play the ball to feet. And I think that's going to be the problem. Unless, of course, they make a change and bring Callum Hudson-Odoi, which has got pace. 1 with 13 minutes gone. It's not Man City 1, Nottingham Forest 0.
The champions ahead and doing what they do. Let's head to the game at Selhurst Park, Crystal Palace versus Fulham. Fulham starting to get on top last time we heard. Jokanoglu, is that still the same? Is still the case?
Yeah, both teams are really evenly matched, but Fulham, I would say, just have the edge over Crystal Palace, and they came close to making it 1-0. It was Willian doing what we've seen him do time and time again for Chelsea, just cutting inside from that left-hand side and curling it into the bottom corner. But Sam Johnstone got a hand to it and was able to push it out for a corner. But it is Fulham that are on the ascendancy. They do look to have the bit between their teeth, and they are taking the game to Crystal Palace. It's been a bit of a slow start for the likes of Eberechi Eze and Odsonne Edouard, who's on hot form. It's been pretty much all Fulham within the first 15 minutes. So it's Crystal Palace 0, Fulham 0.
There's been a second goal at the Etihad.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
And it's the goal machine with yet another one to add to his collection. Patrick Norris is here to describe another one for Erling Haaland. We'll rejoin with Patrick very, very shortly. Until then, let's head to the game at Kenilworth Road, Luton Town versus Wolves. Matt Temporal was there at the home side, almost taking the lead there themselves.
Yes, Wolves very, very, very fortunate to not be 1-0 down here. And what a goal this would have been by Carlton Morris. It was a long ball forward by centre-half Tom Lockyer. Very, very bad clearance from Nelson Semedo, straight to the edge of the box. Carlton Morris, nice little Cruyff turn. And from the edge of the D, curls it into the top corner, but it just hits the post and cannons back out. Luton very unlucky not to be 1-0 up here. At the moment, it's still 0-0 at Kenilworth Road.
So still near there, probably unsurprising. Luton Town struggling for goals. Wolverhampton Wanderers struggling for goals, but it's the home side that are on the front foot and ever so close to breaking the deadlock there. So in the Championship, let's just quickly update you. Ipswich Town were ahead last time we heard, but Blackburn have equalised. So it's Ipswich Town 1, Blackburn Rovers 1. Elsewhere, Plymouth Argyle are leading Norwich City. Plymouth starting the season well. Plymouth 1, Norwich City 0. And Southampton have taken the lead against Middlesbrough. Southampton bit hit and miss since their relegation from the Premier League. Let's go back to a game that is taking place in the Premier League. Let's head back to the Etihad Stadium and let's join Patrick Norwick, who can describe that goal from Erling Haaland.
Yeah, it's Narr City 2, Nottingham Forest 0. A brilliant goal, but to be honest with you, what happened was Manchester Forest lost the ball played to the right-hand side, and Nunez, a wonderful cross, and guess who was there? Haaland rose like a salmon, brilliant header. Again, left-hand side of the goalkeeper. That's twice now. They've come in on the right-hand side. First one, Walker. This one, Nunez. It's 2-0 to Manchester City. With 16 minutes gone, Manchester City 2, Nottingham Forest 0.
Manchester City 2 goals to the good and firmly on course for 3 points there. Let's go back to the game at Selhurst Park, where there hasn't been a goal, but there's been a card. Jordan Uckley.
Yeah, there's been a card to João Paulinho, and we know he's a key player for Fulham. He makes so many tackles in that midfield. One of the most successful tacklers in the Premier League. So it'll be interesting to see if this stunts his game, because, of course, he's going to have to take it easy. His manager might even tell him just to take it a bit easy with some of the challenges. But yeah, he's picked up a yellow card early on in this game. That could swing the tide. Roy Hodgson might tell Eze to get at Paulinho, and that might be the difference if they can get their key man, Fulham's key man, sent off. But so far, and Reams just picked up a yellow card as well. So 2 yellow cards there for Fulham. But so far, Crystal Palace 0, Fulham 0.
Paulinho walking a tight line for the remaining 70 plus minutes in that one. Let's go back to Germany, just at the closing stage of the first half of the game between Bayern Munich and Bochum at the Allianz Arena. Gav Mack is there.
Yes, just a couple of seconds until half-time. There was 4 minutes to be added on. I think they're just going to blow the whistle right now. It's a case of Manuel Riemann versus Bayern at the moment. Bayern Munich creating chance after chance. They're leading by 4 goals to 0. Choupo-Moting with the opening goal after 4 minutes. Ball squared in from Kingsley Coman. The second goal, brilliant run from Davies, which came to the feet of Harry Kane, scoring his 6th goal of the season, 5th in the Bundesliga. A bullet header from De Ligt from a corner, and the Kane assist for Zane as well. But yeah, the whistle's just gone for half-time here. It is Bayern Munich 4, Bochum 0.
Thank you very much, Gav. So 4-0 to Bayern Munich, absolutely in cruise control in the Bundesliga. Elsewhere, Augsburg 2, Mainz 1, Borussia Mönchengladbach 0, RB Leipzig 0, Dortmund 0, Wolfsburg 0, Union Berlin 0, Hoffenheim 2. All of those, apart from the last game, are at the half-time break. We don't just cover European football here on Football Live, we also cover the Saudi Pro League, and we're very lucky that we've got our very own John Kane here to bring us bang up to date with everything that's going on.
The Saudi Pro League on Football Live.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Dean. Yes, the Saudi Pro League has been very exciting this weekend. On round 7, it saw Al Shabab winning by 4-1. Al Shabab started scoring with Carrasco, the ex-Atletico Madrid player. What a player he is. He was one of the surprise moves from Atletico to Al Shabab. They beat Al Hazm by 4-1. The other games, important games, Al Hilal, they only managed a draw against Zamak by 1-1. And that was scored by Malcolm. And when you look at the lineup for that Al Hilal, it was absolutely petrifying when the signs of Mitrovic, Neymar, Milenkovic, and of course Bono in goal and Koulibaly. Yet they only managed that 1-1 draw. The other game, which was probably the game of the round, and it was between Al Nasser, led by Ronaldo, against Al Ahli, with Riyad Mahrez and Frank Cassie playing. Ronaldo scored a couple. He started scoring in the 4th minute, and that put the tally for 2 goals, scored in each half. Riyad Mahrez also was on the scoring sheet from the penalty spot. Frank Cassie was scoring as well, both for Al Ahli, but the game finished Al Nasser 4, Al Ahli 3. Al Ittihad. The Ittihad, they've beaten Al Fatah by 2-1. One of the goals was from N'Golo Kante for Al Ittihad. That was a good win for them. Al Ittifaq, another team which is no one was actually writing any much for them, but they've done very, very well. Al Ittifaq 4, Al Thai 3. Al Ittifaq is led by Steven Gerrard, of course, and they had Wijnaldum, the ex-Liverpool player, scoring after just 2 minutes. And then again, he scored on the 72nd minute for Al Ittifaq. Dembele, another player, if you might remember, Moussa Dembele, he played for few clubs, more notably Fulham, if you're interested in the Premier League. He scored 2 as well, and that game finished Al Ittifaq 4, Al Thai 3. Now, where does that lead us? In the standing, Al Ittihad are still top with 18 points. Al Hilal they're on 17 points. Al Ittifaq are 4th with 16. Al Nasser, they didn't start well, but they actually started picking up the games. They're now 5 out of 5. They are on 15 points, and followed by Al Ahli on 6 with also 15 points. So Al Ittihad with Benzema are leading the league as it stands.
And just seeing the amount of goals in this round of games, average of 4 goals a game, it's proving to be quite an exciting league to watch.
Absolutely. I mean, I watched the Al Nasser and Al Ahli, and that game was just brilliant. Not just because it was the goals and it's 4-3 and everything else, but the excitement. And I think the one thing the Saudi League have done, they brought players that they can play really exciting football. You look at like Ronaldo, you can't beat that, can you? Riyad Mahrez, Wijnaldum, Carrasco, it was one of Carrasco, one of my favourite players in La Liga last season, and they're all playing in one league, and they're really lifted up their league. And also, I mean, the Saudi League, they were involved in the Asian Champions League, and later on I can get the results of that, and some of them were very interesting results. But the Saudi League is really, really going up, and when you watch it, it's very, very exciting. Definitely exciting.
Great stuff. Well, thank you very much, John Kane, bringing us our Saudi update. Let's head back to the games currently going on, and let's go back to the Etihad Stadium. Manchester City 2, Nottingham Forest 0 last time we heard. Much action since we last joined you, Pat?
Yeah, it was a break by Nottingham Forest. They managed to win the ball in the middle of the park, which is in midfield. And then Anarini 1v1 against Emmanuel Akanji. And Akanji fouled him on the edge of the box. And the thing is that Akanji got booked. And also, I think there was one player I think got booked on the bench for protesting. I think Guardiola got up. I don't think he got booked. But a chance, then they took a free kick. Gibbs took a free kick. And then from that free kick, resulted from a corner. They took a corner, which they were nearly got the ball in, but Emerson came out and punched the ball out. So with 23 gone, still Manchester City 2, Nottingham Forest 0.
Maybe signs of life for the visitors there. They'll be hoping that it's not a repeat of last year's 6-0 thrashing at the Etihad Stadium. Thank you, Pat. Let's head to the game down in London at Selhurst Park. It seems to be more about yellow cards than goals in that game between Crystal Palace and Fulham. Jordan Uckley's there to tell us about yet another booking.
Yeah, the referee's dishing out the yellow cards in this one. This time it's a yellow card for Jordan Ayew. It was a head collision between him and Paulinho. Paulinho really was hurt. He was down for quite a long time and appears to be a bit of swelling on his face. It'll be interesting to see how Fulham's medical team handle this situation. They've taken him off the pitch just to analyze him further. And it'll be interesting to see how much time they leave him off the pitch for, because of course he's such a key player for Fulham. They wouldn't want to lose him at all. They wouldn't want to lose him to a red card. He's already got a yellow card. And they definitely wouldn't want to lose him to an injury. He appears to be okay. Of course, he is desperate to get back onto the pitch. And I'll give you further updates on that once he's back on. But so far, Crystal Palace 0, Fulham 0.
Brilliant, thank you for that, Jordan. Of course, can't take any precautions with a concussion, with a head injury. We're seeing that more and more in the leagues where the decision's being taken out of the medical staff and the clubs, and it's an independent doctor that makes the decision whether Paulinho will be able to return to the pitch or not. We're about halfway through the first halves in our featured games. I think it's time to get an update on the betting odds. And who else but John Kane is here with the latest NairaBet betting odds.
The latest in-play betting odds from NairaBet.
Yes, the latest odds from NairaBet. As you know, that Man City are leading Forest by 2-0. 25 minutes gone. It's completely pointless even telling you what's the odds of Manchester City because it's more or less suspended. However, if you think it's going to be a draw, it's 29.0. And Forest to make a comeback is 101.0. However, if you think just the amount of goals here, well, if you say it's over 4.5 goals, over 4.5 goals in that game is 1.91, so it's not a bad odd. It's even money. However, I think the way it's going, we'll probably see 5 goals or more in this game. As far as the odds in the rest of the games, well, Bayern Munich is suspended, similar to Manchester City. The draw is 29.0 and 101.0 for Bochum. Bayern Munich leading at halftime by 4-0. Luton Wolves. Luton at the moment are 2.62 for the win. The draw is 3.0 and Wolves for the draw is 3.10. Of course, that is 0-0. Also 0-0 is Palace Fulham. 27 minutes gone. Palace are 2.50. The draw are 2.80 and the away win for Fulham is 3.40. Now, if you think it's both teams to scores, which is also one of the features that fans are very interested in, well, for Luton, it's Wolves is, if you think there will be, it's 2.40. Palace Fulham is 2.50. City Nottingham Forest is 2.70. And if we dip in the Bundesliga as well for the same thing, both teams to score in the second half. Borussia Mönchengladbach are 0-0 with Leipzig is 2.75. Bayern Munich Bochum 2.30. It's suspended for the Augsburg Mainz. Union Berlin and Hoffenheim is 1.50, and finally Borussia Dortmund Wolfsburg is 2.70. Of course, all these odds are from the NairaBet website, and they're all subject to change. Dean.
Brilliant, thank you so much. The latest odds brought to you by NairaBet, powered by NairaBet, and from NairaBet. Let's head straight back to the Etihad Stadium. Manchester City on top against Nottingham Forest. Last we heard, Forest had their first opportunity of the game, but normal service has resumed, hasn't it, Patrick?
Yeah, I see that they just can't get the ball. It's just that City are so well drilled, and then when you watch them, it's like they all move together to left hand side, right hand side to keep the ball. What's interesting about Julian Alvarez, I'm not quite sure where he's playing, but he seems to find pocket space. Rodri found him in the middle of the park, and what he did, he tried to bend a shot over, but unfortunately Matt Turner saved it. But City are complete dominance here. With 28 gone, it's Manchester City 2, Nottingham Forest 0.
Manchester City 2, Nottingham Forest 0 there. Let's head to the game at Kenilworth Road. Luton Town hit the post, but desperate for their first points of the season. Have they come any closer to breaking the deadlock, Matt?
Well, there was one particular chance. It's been all Luton this game. And Luton will be wondering what they have to do to get the ball in the back of the net. There was one chance in particular, Kiedozie Ogbene, who's been causing nothing but problems down the left-hand side for Luton. He puts the ball into the box to Alfie Doughty, who has a shot on goal, but it's blocked by Carlton Morris, his own teammate, and goes out for a goal kick. The changes for Luton seem to have been working very well so far. Doughty and Ogbene have been their two most creative players, and Ogbene, I watched him a few times for Rotherham. He's a very, very dangerous player. He causes nothing but problems for the opposition. And they'll just need to take advantage of this very strong spell in the game. But will they do a Wolves and dominate the game and end up, I don't know, drawing or losing? We'll see.
We'll see indeed. Luton Town on top, but not able to find the killer blow. Let's just bring you up to date with the scores in the English Championship. It's Ipswich Town 3 now. Blackburn Rovers 1. Ipswich Town certainly on form and bringing their League One form straight into the Championship and sitting high in pretty on top of the Championship. It's Leeds 0, Watford 0. There was a VAR check for a Watford goal in that game. It's Leicester City 0, who have also started very strongly following their relegation from the Premier League. Bristol City 0. It's Middlesbrough 0, Southampton 1, Plymouth Argyle 1, Norwich City 0, Rotherham 0, Preston North End 0, Swansea City 1, Sheffield Wednesday 0, and West Bromwich Albion 0, Millwall 0. The game is half-time. Is at half-time in Italy in Serie A. AC Milan 1, Verona 0 is the score there. Leao with the goal inside 8 minutes to give the home side the lead in that game. Let's go back to the Etihad Stadium and Manchester City taking on Nottingham Forest. Manchester City, are they starting to take their foot off the gas, or 2-0 is a kind of a regular Pep Guardiola score in this Manchester City team? That's a very favourable score, and they seem to win by. Or do you think they sense that they could increase their goal difference in this one, Pat?
I think they can increase the goal difference, but they have, I think, taken the foot off the pedal a little bit. But City just had a spell of possession where they kept the ball, and you could see what City were doing, just waiting for a mistake, and they nearly. They made a mistake, and City nearly had a counter-attack. So I think at the moment, Nottingham Forest, when they get the ball, they're going to make sure they keep it. But you're not going to outpass City, because what they do, they basically sit back and wait for you to make a mistake, but they don't make the mistakes, you see. Forest tends to. So Forest are giving the ball away a little bit, and City win it and pass. They're in their box straight away. With 31 gone, still Manchester City 2, Nottingham Forest 0.
So Manchester City 2, Nottingham Forest 0 there. Elsewhere in the Premier League, Crystal Palace 0, Fulham 0, and Luton Town 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0. Games will be kicking off very, very shortly in the Bundesliga. Let's just run you through those half-time scores as it stands. Augsburg 2, Mainz 1, Borussia Mönchengladbach 0, RB Leipzig 0, Bayern Munich 4, Bochum 0 in our featured game. We'll be joining Gav Mack very, very shortly for an update at the start of the second half there. It's Dortmund 0, Wolfsburg 0, and Union Berlin 0, Hoffenheim 2. So we are listening to Football Live, and let's go to the game at Selhurst Park, Crystal Palace versus Fulham. Last we heard, it was more about cards than goals. Any chances since I was last with you, Jordan? It was Paulinho back in the pitch.
Yes, Paulinho is back on the pitch, and Paul Tierney hasn't put off any of the players from making challenges, despite him dishing out the yellow cards. There's been a lot of great tackles in the midfield in this match, and Paulinho has been amongst those making those challenges. There was a half chance for Berchi Eze. He had a free kick, and it was probably better for him to whip it in and cross it into the likes of Edouard and Guehi, but instead he opted for a shot, and it was comfortable in the end for the goalkeeper. But both teams really cancelling each other out. It was Fulham that started off the better in the first half, but now Crystal Palace are starting to warm up into this match. I think this match really needs a goal to liven up, and hopefully we get one soon. It's Crystal Palace 0, Fulham 0.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Jordan. Let's give you a quick update from the league. The full-time score was Girona 5, Mallorca 3, and the game currently underway is Osasuna 0, Sevilla 0. Of course, you're listening to Football Live.
Sports Radio 88.9 Brila FM.
You are listening to Football Live.
Some of the best start from the streets of Africa. this is not just a game. It's a feeling within us. It's expressive. It's a passion. Play for the fun, play for the thrill, play responsibly.
Proudly African, bet with the best, Naira Bet.
You are listening to Football Live. Live and exclusive on Brila FM.
The Premier League, the Bundesliga, Serie A, La Liga.
4 hours of football every Saturday and Sunday on Brila FM with Football Live.
You are listening to Football Live on Brila FM 88.9 and 101.1 FM.
Take Brila anywhere, everywhere.
Yes, you can take Brila with you anywhere, everywhere.
The Brila app is available for free download on Google Play. It is also there on the Apple iTunes Store. Yes, on Google Play and the Apple iTunes Store.
Look out for the Brila football and microphone logo with the letters BRILA in green colour.
That is our authentic app. It gives you Brila FM, Brila.net, BrilaSports.tv and all the extra betting tips, live score, plus our Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Google Plus and YouTube posts.
Sports fun. You can post your videos and eyewitness reports.
Brila, BRILA. Available for download on Google Play and the Apple iTunes Store.
Coming up tomorrow on Football Live with Chris Baldwin. Arsenal taking on Tottenham Hotspur. Aston Villa go to Chelsea. Live and exclusive on Brila FM.
You are listening to Football Live.
Let's get back to the action on Football Live. Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Dean Kilford.
Well, welcome back to Football Live. And as you heard, it's a big game today, but it's a big, big day tomorrow, including that North London derby between Arsenal and Tottenham. Also, of course, we're covering Chelsea versus Villa, Liverpool, West Ham, Brighton, Bournemouth and Sheffield United versus Newcastle. But let's head around the grounds and let's start at the Etihad. Manchester City taking on Nottingham Forest. Manchester City 2 goals to the good, but it's going from bad to worse for Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, it's an injury to Nuno Tavares. I'm not quite sure whether he'll be able to carry on, but it looks like a hamstring or groin injury, but he's gone back on leaping. But I think there's a sub warming up, as I can see. He might have to be taken off because he's done quite well at left back, actually. And I think, Steve Cooper will have to change at the back. We'll have to wait and see. With 37 gone, still Manchester City 2, Nottingham Forest 0.
So let's hope the injury not too serious there for Tavares. Let's go down to the game at Selhurst Park. Jordan Ockley is watching the game between Crystal Palace and Fulham. And we've had a big chance, but not quite a goal.
Yeah, finally no yellow cards to talk about. We had a chance for Raul Jimenez. It was a great ball over the top from Andreas Pereira. Picked out Jimenez, and it was a fantastic first touch from Jimenez. All he had to do now was beat Sam Johnstone in the goal. However, his shot was well saved. It was a good effort, to be honest, from Jimenez. He struggled a bit with life at Fulham in the Premier League, and he had a chance to get his first goal of the season. There was a good save from Johnstone to keep it. Crystal Palace 0, Fulham 0.
So still 0-0 there. Actually, we heard from Marco Silva ahead of the game, and he was speaking on live for Fulham without Aleksandar Mitrovic.
Because we won with Neil and was one of the strikers that scored a goal, and you are keeping talking about the same situation. And we won the game with the striker scoring a goal. I said last week here that we have to share the goals like we did last season. I know that we had our main striker that scored 14 goals. The season before, I know more than 40 goals, because that he had a huge impact on ourselves. We helped him a lot to go for this best level of his career, last two seasons as well. 15 players of our squad, they scored goals last season, and we have to do the same. We have to share the goals. Of course, I would like to have a top man in the attack line that able to score more than 10, 20 goals. but we have to provide for them as well. This is the thing, because until now we didn't provide enough for our striker. We didn't create enough chances for our strikers to score as well.
There you go, Marco Silva talking about needing to share the goals around at Fulham, just anyone to score. I'm sure those away fans would be joyous for right now. Meanwhile, at the game down at Kenilworth Road, there hasn't been a goal, but there has been a red card. I believe the visitors are down to 10 men. Here to tell us more about that is Matt Temporal.
Yes, well, it is currently being reviewed by VAR, but it looks to me like there's absolutely no chance they'll overturn this. It was basically a 50-50 tackle on the floor between the Luton defender and Wolves attacking midfielder Jean-Rickner Bellegarde. And in the kind of tangle of legs between the Wolves defender, it was Tom Lockyer, between the Luton defender Tom Lockyer and Bellegarde. In the tangle of legs, we just saw Bellegarde kick out at Tom Lockyer. Absolutely ridiculous thing to do at this stage in the game. And Luton had just slowed down their play a little bit, but this will give them a really big G up now, and maybe we'll see another wave of Luton attacks, and they'll be looking to win this game now. Ridiculous red card, stupid thing to do, very, very stupid. Approaching half-time, and it's still 0-0 here at Kenilworth Road.
Real schoolboy stuff from Bellegarde, which sees the away side down to 10 men. And surely Luton's opportunity to get their first points of the season are very much on the up. Meanwhile, Nuno Tavares' this afternoon hasn't been able to continue, has it, Patrick Norrick?
No, he was struggling, and you could see that he went down again. So Steve Cooper had to make a substitution. Monchal, who played in the last game, he just lost in left back. Has he gone? Oh no, he's gone over to right back. They made a little change at the back. It looks to me, but it's still a back four there. So just a slight change you had to make. So with 41 minutes gone, it's still Manchester City 2, Nottingham Forest 0.
Thanks for that, Pat. So let's head back to the Bundesliga game going on between Bayern Munich and Bochum. We're underway in the second half there. Gav Macker, Bayern coasting at the start of this second half, or are Bochum showing any signs of life at all?
Bochum are nowhere to be seen. They've already conceded a couple of chances already as well. We've only played 6 minutes of this second half so far. It is shooting practice, and if anything, we'll be praising Bayern for doing so well, but we have to tip our hats to Manuel Riemann, the goalkeeper for Bochum, for keeping the scoreline so low. It's Bayern Munich 4, Bochum 0, played 52 minutes.
Still 4-0 there, and it sounds like we will certainly get a goal or two more in that one, Gav. Certainly from the way that you're describing it anyway. Bochum, they may well need to get themselves into gear, or maybe, actually, we're just joking about it, but I believe a penalty has been awarded to Bayern Munich there, so Bochum's afternoon could get from bad to worse. So VAR, of course, reviewing it. We'll go back to the Allianz Arena once we get confirmation of that. Meanwhile, let's go back to the Etihad Stadium. Manchester City to Nottingham Forest 0. Manchester City go close again, Patrick.
Yeah, domination again. They got the ball to the left-hand side, where unfortunately it was a bad foul by let me see who it is. It was the ex-Spurs player, I've forgotten his name now. Anyway, I'll probably tell you in a minute. I've got it on my tongue. Anyway, he did a foul on Haaland, edge of the box, and it became a free kick, and Nunes took it and over the bar. So at the moment, with 43 gone, still Manchester City 2, Nottingham Forest 0.
Was it Serge Aurier?
That's it. Yeah, I was just about to say it, Dean. Serge Aurier, yeah.
There is. He's certainly prone to a foul or two.
Maybe because it's Tottenham, ex-Tottenham, that's why I forgot it.
That's it. Brilliant stuff. Okay, well, Forest just about holding on to their 2-goal deficit. Man City going close to scoring a third there. Let's head back to the game at Selhurst Park between Crystal Palace and Fulham. Last we heard, Fulham were very much on top, but Palace nearly capitalised on a chance themselves, Jordan.
Yes, it was that man, Berechi Eze. He's had a lot of shots in the Premier League. He's actually second for the most shots in the Premier League behind Erling Haaland. That says a lot about how much he likes to pull the trigger. And he pulled the trigger from the midfield, and it just was wide of the post. It was a good effort. He found some space. It's actually his 100th game for Crystal Palace, so he would love to cap off this game, this milestone, with a goal. And he was close there, pretty close there. Coming towards half-time, still evenly matched, but I do think we are getting closer to getting a goal. Crystal Palace 0, Fulham 0.
And straight back to Germany. The penalty check was confirmed. A penalty was given, and the penalty was scored.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
And who else but Harry Kane getting his second of the afternoon. Gav Mack, how are you feeling?
I feel fine, but I feel very, very sorry for Ivan Ordetz. He has had an awful day in the defence for Bochum. It was a penalty given for handball. Choupo-Moting with a shot which deflected up into the air and then hit the hand of Ordetz. I think, according to law, that penalty should not be given, but the referee has gone ahead and given it. Harry Kane sent the goalkeeper the wrong way, and it is Bayern Munich 5, Bochum 0, just before the hour mark.
The 5 minutes there, and the second contentious handball penalty given to Bayern in the last few days. Anyone who saw that Champions League game on Wednesday night might feel the same way, particularly if you're a Manchester United fan. Christian Eriksen, of course, on that occasion adjudged to have handled the ball from very, very close distance. Let's head back to Kenilworth Road. We haven't heard from Matthew Temporal for a while. He's covering the game there between Luton Town and Wolves. Let's see how Luton have responded to having that goal advantage. Have they really taken the game to the away side?
Yes, they have taken the game to Wolves, but they haven't created any chances. It seems that Wolves have been shaken by the red card, and they're just sitting back trying to get to half-time at 0-0. They'll be very disappointed with that red card. It was a very, very, very idiotic thing to do, in my opinion, and this is going to be a big game now for Luton for a couple of reasons. First of all, they need the 3 points. They need that win. And secondly, if they can't win this game at home in front against 10 men Wolves, who are going to be, in the bottom half of the table themselves come end of the season, then what chance have they got against the other Premier League teams? It's going to say a lot about Luton this upcoming second half and the rest of this game. So we'll just see how Luton adapt to having a one-man advantage and see if they can get the 3 points today. It's currently Luton 0, Wolves 0.
Certainly, well, half-time's approaching in all of our Premier League games. You wonder what tactics will be changed in that one to see if Luton will maybe go a bit more direct as they look to capitalise on that man advantage. It's been a couple more goals in the English Championship. Leeds United have taken the lead against Watford, and Preston North End have equalised against Rotherham. It's one apiece there in that game. Plymouth have also scored a second against Norwich City. It's Plymouth 2, Norwich City 0. That brings you up to date with the scores in the Championship, the latest goals in the Championship. Injury times being added in the games around the Premier League. There's 5 minutes added in the game at the Etihad between Manchester City and Nottingham Forest. Let's hear how the closing stages of that first half are going. Patrick Norwitt.
Yeah, it's still Manchester City 2, Nottingham Forest 0, but Forest are getting a bit more physical now. With like 5 minutes to go, Mangala just took out Rodri. And, and Rodri is sort of walking around limping. He's the man, actually. They need to keep him. The thing is, they don't get close to him. For some reason, he's in on the pitch, but he seems to disappear now and again. He comes into the game. But it was a bad tackle on him, so Mangala got booked for that. With 47 gone, still 4 minutes left to play. It's still Manchester City 2, Nottingham Forest 0.
Still 2-0 there as we're into the third of 5 additional minutes at the Etihad. There's 4 additional minutes at Selhurst Park in London. Let's hear from the closing stages of that one. The game between Crystal Palace and Fulham with Jordan Oakley.
Yeah, we're nearing half-time here at Selhurst Park. It's been an evenly contested first half. I hope both managers are not happy with a point. I really hope that both managers are going to grill their teams in the dressing room and we can get a lively, much better second half with some goals perhaps. But it has been evenly contested. Both teams that will be hoping to push on maybe into the Europa Conference positions this season. So a win today could be key for both sides. But we approach half time. Crystal Palace 0, Fulham 0.
It's still goalless there, Crystal Palace and Fulham, although there have been a fair few chances and a fair few cards in that one. There's been a third goal for Plymouth in their home game against Norwich City down in the English Championship. Let's bring you up to date in Serie A. It's the hour mark in the game at the San Siro. AC Milan 1, Verona 0 there. And to the half-hour mark in La Liga in Spain, Osasuna 0, Sevilla 0. It's opportunity maybe for Forest to get one back just before the interval, Patrick Norrit.
Yeah, I would say a half chance. They managed to work the ball over on the right-hand side where they got Gibbs White in. He took a shot, but the keeper saved it. Whilst it's 2-0, you know, there's still a chance. All they need is one goal, and then they'll be back in it. So we're approaching half-time. It's, is it 50 we played or 52, 53, something like that anyway. Manchester City 2, Nottingham Forest 0.
Manchester City 2, Forest 0, last few seconds of that one. I can also tell you that their goal, Leeds United thought they scored, has been ruled out eventually. And Plymouth Argyle, not Plymouth City. Plymouth, who are they? Plymouth Argyle has scored a fourth goal against Norwich City. They are absolutely running right. 3 goals in 5 minutes there in their game. Let's just maybe get a quick half-time. The game at Kenilworth Road, Luton Town, with 11 players versus 10 men. Wolves, they'll be certainly looking to get at least a point, if not 3, in this second half. But here to describe all the first half action is Matt Temporal.
Yes, well, it's half-time here at Kenilworth Road, and it's been all Luton in the first half. They've hit the post with a cracking effort from Carlton Morris. He's been one of the better players for Luton. To be fair, attacking, they've looked very, very strong today. They just haven't been able to put the ball in the back of the net. Wolves, on the other hand, they would have been disappointed in their first half anyway, but then they've really piled on the pressure after Bellegarde's red card just after the half-hour mark. An absolutely ridiculous decision. Look, he's not really hurt anyone. Tom Lockyer has made the most of it. Compare it to the David Beckham red card in 1998. You know, it's a stupid thing to do. And he's got a red card. He's been sent for an early bath, and he's put his team in a lot of trouble. They would have been looking for a win themselves today, as both teams really, really need to get their season going. But now what do Wolves do? Do they try and hang on for a 0-0 draw, or do they try and sneak a win somehow? And Luton, well, they need to win this game. They need to get that first win at Kenilworth Road. At the moment, it is Luton Town 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0.
Thank you very much for that. We'll be joining Matt again in the second half. It's currently goalless, 11 men at Luton Town versus 10 men Wolverhampton Wanderers. It is half-time in our other Premier League games. Crystal Palace 0, Fulham 0, and Manchester City 2, Nottingham Forest. In the Bundesliga, 63 minutes gone, Bayern Munich 5, Bochum 0. Bayern looking for another 7-goal smashing versus Bochum. So it's time for us to step away and hand back to the studio in Nigeria. Hand over to FJ and the team. Thank you very much, and we'll join you very, very shortly.
You are listening to Football Live and exclusive on Brila FM.
The Premier League, the Bundesliga, Serie A, La Liga.
4 hours of football every Saturday and Sunday on Brila FM with Football Live.
You are listening to Football Live on Brila FM 88.9 and 101.1 FM.
Let's get back to the action on Football Live. Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Dean Kilford.
Well, thank you very much, FJ and the team. You are, of course, listening to Football Live, where we bring you all the goals as they go in. And we also bring you all the red cards as they happen. There's been a red card in the featured game at the Etihad, Manchester City taking on Nottingham Forest. And it's the home side that are down to 10 men, although we think They're down to 10 men. VAR are double checking this. Rodri is adjudged a straight red cards. VAR are checking. So we will see and get back to Patrick with an update on that as soon as we can. The second half's just kicking off all around Europe. In our Premier League games in England, it's Crystal Palace 0, Fulham 0, it's Luton Town 0, 10-man Wolves 0, it's Manchester City 2, Nottingham Forest 0, but Manchester City could well be down to 10 men. Our featured game in Germany is the game between Bayern Munich and Bochum. Last we heard, it was a 5-star performance for the home side. Have they been close to making it 6? Let's join Gav Mack to find out.
Well, not really. I wouldn't say they'll be close to making it 6. It has been one-way traffic, of course. Bayern have made a number of substitutions, notably a debut for 20-year-old left-back Franz Kretzig, left-back who's come on in place of Alphonso Davies. Upamecano, Tell, Goretzka and Müller have all come on in place of Kimmich, Coman, De Ligt, Choupo-Moting and the aforementioned Alphonso Davies. But it is just relaxing and let's just chill out and see what's happening now. Since they made it 5, it's been pretty drab, I can't lie. Bayern Munich 5, Bochum 0.
There's 5-0 there. There's a big chance for Luton to get all 3 points in their game against 10-man Wolves, and there's been a goal!
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
But it's gone to the away side. Wolverhampton Wanderers with 10 men have taken the lead at Kenilworth Road against Luton Town. Shocking start for the home side in this second half. They have conceded a goal, the worst possible start to the second half for the home side. They've got it all to do to come from behind to try and get something out of this game. It's Luton Town 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1, and it's Neto who scored for the visiting team there. We will be joining Matt Temple very, very shortly for their eye. Meanwhile, I can tell you that red card for Rodri has been confirmed. Manchester City are down to 10 minutes. Hear all about that red card from Patrick Norrit.
Yeah, it was a silly one basically because the ball found its way on the left-hand side. Rodri went over there to make a tackle. Morgan Gibbs was there as well, and what happened was we seen the replay. Rodri put his hands around Gibbs' white neck, and that's why. So red card for City. With 49 played, it's Manchester City 2, Nottingham Forest 0.
2-0 there. There's been another goal in the Bundesliga.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Well, it was easy laying back time. Last we heard, they've turned it up a little notch, and it's the man that's come off the bench once more to add to the score sheet. It's Matthias Tell, who's made it 6-0 to Bayern Munich. Let's hear about that goal from Gav Mack.
Yes, it is 6-0, and it is Matthias Tell who has got the 6th goal. A lovely finish. He's curled it around the goalkeeper, and this is just so embarrassing defensively. They've clearly given up. It was a really poor square ball, which Harry Kane was able to hop onto the end of, well, to intercept, I should say. And he was able to find Matthias Tell on the edge of the box, who's bent it around the keeper. Matthias Tell, his goal-scoring record has been absolutely fantastic. He was one of the youngest players ever to play for Bayern Munich as well. He's having a great start to a youthful career. Bayern Munich 6, Bochum 0, and game over.
Game over as if it wasn't already. Gav Mack, the home side, hitting Bochum 4-6. And there was an assist there, another assist for Harry Kane. Like to tot up his number of assists for the season to add to his 7 goals he's already scored in the colours of Bayern Munich. Let's head back around our Premier League games. Let's start with the game at Crystal Palace versus Fulham at Selhurst Park. Let's get an update at the early stage of the second half with Jordan.
Yes, both teams are out for the second half and both teams look raring to go. Been a strong start from both sides. Like I've said earlier, both sides have been evenly matched, so it's really hard to see who's going to get the goal, but I do think whoever scores the first goal in this one might end up winning it. That's how close it is. Both teams keep cancelling each other out, So far, still no goals. It's Crystal Palace 0, Fulham 0.
Still goalless there, but it's not goalless at Kenilworth Road, where we heard Wolves had taken the lead. Let's hear about that goal now with Matt Temporal.
Oh, and Tom Lockyer. Oh, he's going to be struggling to sleep tonight after a horrendous mistake. And Luton were in control of the game, and they should definitely be taking the 3 points in this game. But Tom Lockyer had the ball at his feet. He plays a very lazy ball back to his own goalkeeper, and it's pounced on by Neto for Wolves, and he finishes it lovely into the top right-hand corner. Oh, Luton will be so disappointed with this. They need the 3 points. They're against 10 men. Wolves now are going to sit back and try and get the 3 points. Unlucky, you've got to say. It's no reflection of the game, but it is Luton Town 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1.
Lockyer maybe getting a bit of karma, going down very easily for the red cards and conceding possession of the ball to give the visitors the lead. It's Luton 0, Wolves 1, and you kind of feel, given the circumstances already, it may well be a must-win game for the home side, who are down, trailing by a goal to 0. Another team down to 10 men, are Manchester City. Let's see how they've recovered or how they're coping being down to 10 men. Rodri, such a key figure in that midfield. Patrick Norris there to see if Forest is starting to capitalise on the man advantage.
Yeah, they're trying to, because they're trying to make that extra man count. And but just before you came to me, Morgan Gibbs-White just found himself into the box and took a shot, and he just went wide. But I feel strange, because I thought that City are probably the team who can actually handle playing with just 10 men. But I think Rodri is such a key player for them. They've decided to make a change. Jeremy Doku's come on. They've taken off the right-hand side to bring on Calvin Phillips, who hasn't played any game whatsoever. So that'd be strange, because it means he might get himself back in the team now. With 53 gone, still Manchester City 2, Nottingham Forest 0.
So Man City 2, Forest 0. You wonder if there'll be a few changes for Nottingham Forest. Hudson-Odoi looks a tempting option for the bench for them, and I'm sure Patrick would certainly like to see him
definitely
to the field. Yeah. Okay, let's just bring you up to date with the scores in the Championship. In a thrilling game at Portman Road, Ipswich Town 3, Blackburn Rovers 2. Blackburn with an early goal in the second half to reduce the arrears there. A 5-goal thriller with 55 gone. It's still Leeds United 0, Watford 0. VAR has ruled out a goal for both teams in that game. It's also Leicester City 0, Bristol City 0. Middlesbrough 1, Southampton 1. Plymouth Argyle are absolutely running right at home against Norwich City 4-0. The score there. It's Rotherham 1, Preston North End 1, Swansea City 1, Sheffield Wednesday 0. The score there, and West Bromwich Albion 0, Millwall 0. In Germany, the latest scores: Augsburg are still holding on by 2-1 against Mainz, but Augsburg are down to 10 men. A straight red card shown for Engels. Tripping went through on goal. So the home side down to 10 men, but still with the league. It's Borussia Mönchengladbach 0, RB Leipzig 1. RB Leipzig taking the lead through Timo Werner with 15 to go there, and they're on course for 3 points. As you heard in our featured game, just a couple of minutes to go. It's Bayern Munich 6, Bochum 0. Dortmund have taken the lead against Wolfsburg, as you may have heard FJ tell us earlier on in the studio. Reyes with the goal there to give Dortmund the lead against Wolfsburg. It's Union Berlin 0, Hoffenheim 2. No goals in the second half there in the closing stages of all of those games in Serie A. With 2 minutes to go, it's AC Milan 1, Verona 0. And in the Liga, it's half-time between Osasuna and Sevilla. It's currently 0-0 there. Let's head back to the Etihad, where Nottingham Forest may be making those changes, or getting ready to make the changes that we just talked about, Patrick.
Yeah, they're getting ready to make a change. But it's amazing, in the first half, Forest didn't get a chance. Well, not one shot on target. Already, because City are down to 10 men, they're about 4 or 5 already in their box. But City's still dangerous. Alenga is looking to come on, and so is Callum Hudson-Odoi getting ready as well. So that's going to be interesting. It looks like Serge Aurier is coming to come off, and Callum Hudson-Odoi will replace him. He's going to be the first sub to come on. So that'd be very interesting. Get the ball to him, let him go. Right, it's 56 gone. Manchester City 2, Nottingham Forest 0.
Meanwhile, back in Germany, there's been a 7th goal.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
And who else but completing his hat-trick and scoring his 8th goal in the colours of Bayern Munich? It's Harry Kane, who has scored a hat-trick at home, his first hat-trick for his new club to make it Bayern Munich 7, Bochum 0. It's happened again. And, 7-0 to Bayern Munich there. We'll join Gav Mack very, very shortly to describe that goal for us. But Bochum fans, well, the horror show continues. The heavy defeats have followed them all season. I do believe there's a VAR check going on there. So meanwhile, let's head over to the game at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace taking on Fulham. And there's a chance, or a possible shout for a penalty, I believe, Jordan.
Yeah, possible shout indeed. It was crossed in from Mitchell from the left-hand side, and a Berechi Eze seemed to be pulled down by Ream. But the referee, he had a good look at it. He was close by, and he says no penalty. Looking at the replay, I don't think that was actually a penalty as well. It would have been a bit soft. It would have been a bit easy to give that one. But yeah, Crystal Palace 0, Fulham 0, approaching the 60th minute.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much. Well, let's head over to Germany. Let's hear about that 7th goal, or maybe not a 7th goal. Harry Kane, has he got his first hat-trick in the colours of Bayern Munich, Gav Mack?
Well, we're still waiting to find out. And I'm actually quite surprised by this. I think it's been given. The goal has been given. Harry Kane with his hat-trick, his 3rd goal of the game. It's little bit of a tap-in more than anything else. He's been absolutely fantastic today, though, dropping deep, being on the end of things. But I'm very surprised that goal was given from the angle that I saw. But this looks like it's going to be the 3rd 7-0 victory for Bayern against Bochum in recent memory, and the board has just gone up. There's 3 minutes of injury time to be added on. Bayern Munich 7, Bochum 0 for Bochum.
Bochum indeed. They'll be hoping that 3 minutes goes quicker than any minutes they've ever had in their life. So 7-0 there for Bayern Munich. Let's go back to the game at the Etihad. Manchester City versus Nottingham Forest. Forest getting ready to make a couple of changes, but the game certainly has changed, and it's now the away side that are in the ascendancy.
Yeah, it's all happening here. I can tell you that they've made the changes, and also Manchester City's made a change as well. Julian Alvarez has come off and Nathan Ake has come on. I don't know why they've done that, but for some reason they're a bit disjointed, Manchester City. But what I'm watching at the moment is that when he nearly wasn't able to put the ball over the goalkeeper's goal, it went wide. But I tell you what, they're getting in all the time now. They had more chances and tackles are going in. So we've got a game on our hands. 59 gone, still Manchester City 2, Nottingham Forest 0.
Nottingham Forest having chances but unable to break through the Manchester City backline that have only conceded 3 goals in their previous 5 games, and on course to take it 6 wins from 6 and stretch their early lead in the Premier League to 5 points over Tottenham, Liverpool, who all have 13 points and of course are all playing tomorrow. Elsewhere, of course, in the Premier League, Crystal Palace still, Fulham 0, as we just heard. A penalty shout for Crystal Palace turned down. Let's hear how Luton have responded to going a goal down against Wolverhampton Wanderers. You feel the chances to feel the points are absolutely crucial, and they won't get a better chance, but they're not taking it. Here we go, Matt Temporal.
No, you're absolutely right. They're not taking that chance at the moment. In fact, they're lucky to just be 1-0 down. Max Kilman had a good effort. Rebound fell to him in the box, and he had a shot on goal that was saved by the goalkeeper, Thomas Kaminski. Luton really need to show their mettle here. They're against 10 men Wolves. They're 1-0 down in front of their home crowd. They couldn't have been given a bigger advantage than that, and they're simply not taking it. They're really struggling to adapt to the Premier League. No one really likes to see a team get as little points or as little chances as Luton are getting so far this season. But they've still got time in this game to turn things round. It only takes a second to score a goal. Luton need 2 here. Wolves look happy to sit back. But as I said, they could have scored themselves. It's going to be definitely an interesting last half hour here at Kenilworth Road. It's Luton Town 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1.
Luton Town very much rock bottom of the Premier League with a -8 goal difference as well, and 0 points to their name. Of course, they did start a late show against West Ham United in their first home game of the season. Scored a goal that day, but couldn't quite pull it back. Hence, they are pointless in this one. It is full-time in Germany. It is full-time, as Bochum fans will be very relieved to hear. Bayern Munich 7, Bochum 0. Will join Gav Mack for a full-time report in there very, very shortly. I can tell you the second half is back underway in La Liga. Osasuna 0, Sevilla 0. Earlier on, Girona 5, Mallorca 3 was the early kickoff in that division. Later, we'll bring you the goals as they go in between Barcelona and Celta Vigo. We're in the closing moments of the game in Serie A between AC Milan and Verona. Let's go straight back to Kenilworth Road, though. Or maybe we will do. There's a potential penalty being given. VAR, just checking out. We'll just hold fire momentarily on joining back with Matt there to see that Luton potentially being awarded a penalty in that game against Wolves. A golden opportunity to get back into this one. I can tell you that the VAR check has been finished, finalised, and the penalty has been given. So Luton Town with a chance from 12 yards to equalise against Wolverhampton Wanderers. In the Championship, I can tell you Leicester City has scored against Bristol City. They lead by 1-0, and Middlesbrough have taken the lead. They've come from behind to lead Southampton by 2-1. Middlesbrough having a shocking start to the season. And I can tell you the penalty's been taken and the penalty's been scored.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Luton Town equalised from 12 yards. Colton Morris, scoring for the home side to level things up at 1 apiece. We're just talking about Luton needing to get themselves back into this game. Wolves playing dangerous on the break. Will Luton Town have levelled things there? Meanwhile, let's go back to the Etihad and see how Nottingham Forest are starting to pile up the pressure on the champions.
I'll tell you what, I'm watching a completely different game now. Forest are have more possession and making City playing the ball long. That's the first time I've seen him do that from the back. Emerson actually taking long goal kicks for knockdowns. It's all Forest, but they have to score. They just had a chance with Dominguez having a chance at the edge of the box, which went wide. But if they get their chance, they have to score. But then they could get hit on the break. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. With 64 gone, still Manchester City 2, Forest 0.
So still 2-0, but Forest pushing for a goal. Let's hear about that equalising goal for Luton Town against Wolverhampton Wanderers. Matt Temporal.
Yes, and it's Carlton Morris with a very, very composed penalty. A little stutter in the run-up, and he sends the goalkeeper to the wrong corner. He puts it into the keeper's bottom right hand corner. It's a bit of a gift, in my opinion, this penalty. It's very, very harsh on Wolves. It was João Gomez, the midfielder. The ball is blasted at him in the box. It takes a deflection off his own knee and up onto his hand. Now his hand is raised above his head, but how is he supposed to get his hand out of the way if it's deflected off his own knee? I think it's very, very, very harsh penalty to give there, but referee gave it nonetheless. And is that the bit of luck that Luton Town needed to finally get this game by the scruff of its neck and get the 3 points? Well, they've gone about it the right way so far. It's Luton Town 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1.
A contentious penalty, but Luton Town fans won't care one bit. Their side a level thanks to Carlton Morris's equalising penalty. Goals as they go in. You're listening to Football Live.
Sports Radio 88.9 Brila FM.
You are listening to Football Live.
Brila.
News and engagements never stop on our website
www.brilla.net
and our social media handles
889 Brilla FM
on Facebook.
Yes, 889 Brilla FM on Facebook, at 889 Brilla FM
on Instagram.
Got it? At 889 Brilla FM on Instagram
and on Twitter.
It's at Brilla FM 889 and Brilla Sports TV on Google+. Brilla.
News and engagements never stop.
So do remember to like all our pages. Do like us.
Calling all high flyers who fancies a free flight on us. Naira Vegas are making it rain with 1 million, yes, 1 million free flights on Aviator. Claim unlimited flights with no minimum stake. The sky's the limit. Every day it will randomly rain free flights through the chat feature. Simply place your bets on Aviator and watch it rain free flights in the chat. Make sure you board the plane. You wouldn't want to miss out on a maximum multiplier of times 250,000. Full terms and conditions apply. Must click claim in the chat to be rewarded. Free flights for Aviator only. Must be 18 plus. Please play responsibly.
You are listening to Football Live. Live and exclusive on Brüller FM.
The Premier League, the Bundesliga, Serie A, La Liga.
4 hours of football every Saturday and Sunday on Brüller FM with Football Live.
You are listening to Football Live on Brüller FM 88.9 and 101.1 FM.
Around the grounds, chasing the goals.
A goal that is going to blow open the title race in the Bundesliga.
Well, this wasn't supposed to happen. It's been an unbelievable day here on Football Live.
4 hours of football every Saturday and Sunday on Brüller FM with Football Live.
Coming up tomorrow on Football Live with Chris Baldwin. Arsenal taking on Tottenham Hotspur. Aston Villa go to Chelsea. Live and exclusive on Brüller FM.
You are listening to Football Live.
Let's get back to the action on Football Live. Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Dean Kilford.
Brilliant stuff. Of course, you are listening to Football Live. Let's get the latest odds with about 15 minutes or so to go in our featured games with our very own John Kane.
The latest in-play betting odds from NairaBet.
Yes, the latest odds from NairaBet. Of course, all these prices are subject to change from the NairaBet website. 70 minutes gone in all the Premier League games. Luton Wolves 1-1. Luton 2.60 for the win at home. The draw is 1.91, and an away win for Wolves is 8.0. Reminder that Wolves are playing with 10 men. Likewise, Manchester City, they've got 20 minutes. They are playing with 10 men. They're leading by 2-0. However, listening to Patrick Newell, right, there's a life in Forest in the last 20 minutes or so. It's more or less 1.03 for Manchester City win. Is very, very low, understandably so. However, the draw has just gone up to 19.0, and if you think Forest can actually win this game, it's 101.0. Just a few other games that's happening at the moment. Nantes are playing at home. They're losing to Lorient by a goal to nil. 31 minutes gone in the first half. Nantes now are 4.75 for the win. The draw is 3.50, and Lorient away win is 1.83. And finally, the Spanish La Liga is 56 minutes gone. Osasuna against Sevilla, still 0-0. Osasuna are 3.0 for the win. The draw is 2.0. And finally, Sevilla away win is 4.33. Of course, all these prices are subject to change from NairaBet website.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, John. And thank you very much to NairaBet for the latest odds, in-play odds, of course, subject to change. Let's go straight back to the Etihad Stadium. Nottingham Forest starting to put on the pressure, but City starting to respond, Patrick Norris.
Yeah, they're putting the pressure, but the thing is, what Forest got to be aware of is a counter-attack. They had a counter-attack where the 2v2 where Phil Foden had the ball on the left-hand side, he carried it, and then tried to play the ball to Haaland, but the defender got in the way. Although Forest are dominating, but no end product. So it's always having a possession, but there's no end product at all. So they haven't had many shots on target, but they're getting nearer and nearer. But I mean, the way City are playing, they're saying, I think Guardiola said, you know what, let's not let them get the next goal. If they do get the next goal, it'll be 2-1, game on again. As long as it stays like this, I think then he'll be happy with it. That's what he's done, he's made the changes, bringing more defensive players on just to keep it tight. With 71 gone, still Manchester City 2, Nottingham Forest 0.
Thank you very much, Patrick. So Man City 2, Nottingham Forest 0. Let's head to the game at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace versus Fulham. The away sides certainly missing Alexander Mitrovic, aren't they, Jordan?
Definitely, Raul Jimenez just not cutting it up front for Fulham. He was played in by Andres Pereira, and he had the opportunity to put it across goal for Willian to tap it in. All go for the shot, and it seemed as if he was in his own head because he didn't do either of them. Got it completely wrong, Raul Jimenez. Yeah, definitely missing Mitrovic, but they do have a striker who's on form on the bench, Vinicius, who scored in the last match for Fulham, and he actually has 4 goals in his last 6 Premier League appearances. So quite strange that Marco Silva has not brought him in yet. Also, the likes of Alex Iwobi could make a difference. Crystal Palace have made a change. Mateta has come on for Schlupp, so that's an attacking change for Crystal Palace. Mateta has 3 assists this season, and he'll be hoping to add to his tally. But it's Crystal Palace 0, Fulham 0.
Thank you very much for that update, Jordan. You'd like to think that Vinicius Jr. will be getting some minutes sooner rather than later. Meanwhile, let's just get a last update from the game at Kenilworth Road. Luton Town equalised last time we heard. Are they pushing for a winner now, Matt?
Yes, they are pushing for a winner, and that's exactly what they need to do. There's a very good chance they'll win this game now. There's a lot of pressure being applied by Luton Town. Rob Edwards has made 2 changes. Corley Woodrow's come on for Jacob Brown, and Ryan Giles has come on for Alfie Doughty, trying to give them a little bit of pace, a little bit of attacking edge to just break down Wolves, who look happy to play for a draw right now. That goal has really, really spurred on Luton Town. And at the moment, it seems like when, not if, Luton Town get a winner, but they still have to go and do it. And they haven't proven in the past that they can yet. So it's a good position for Luton Town to be in, and they'll definitely be looking for the win here at Kenilworth Road. It's Luton Town 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1.
So Luton Town pushing on for a win, but certainly looking on point for their first point of the season. Some team that certainly weren't struggling for goals were Bayern Munich. They thrashed Bochum by 7 goals. Let's get a full-time report with our Football Live reporter, Gav Mack, who's there to describe the action for us.
Dear, oh dear. Bayern Munich 7, Bochum 0. It's the third time Bayern have won by this scoreline against Bochum in the recent years. Game started with Maxim Choupo-Moting goal after just 4 minutes, and at that point we already knew which direction this was going to go. Harry Kane doubled the lead on 12 minutes after a defensive mix-up before Matthijs de Ligt with a bullet header on half an hour. Bochum made a few changes 3 minutes later, but it did not help the situation at all. Bayern were able to continue their goal scoring and went into the break 4-0 up at half time. Second half, very much some of the same as before. Harry Kane getting a penalty before they sort of took the foot off the gas a little bit, but then they reignited the flame with a couple more changes, and the youngster Matthias Tell with a goal before Harry Kane controversially scoring his third goal after a mix-up with offside and VAR checks. Long journey home for Bochum. It will take around 6.5 hours to get back to the city from Bayern. It was Bayern Munich 7, Bochum 0.
Thank you very much, Gav. Gav Mack there. Describing all of the action in Germany at the Allianz Arena. Bayern Munich filling their boots, Harry Kane filling his boots and taking home the match ball with a hat-trick. Brilliant stuff. Let's join our betting expert, Ayo Alabi, who joins us now in the studio on Football Live. Good afternoon, Ayo.
Good afternoon. How are you today?
Very well, sir. How are you doing?
I'm fabulous. Thank you very much.
Brilliant stuff. So we've got a big game coming up at 5:30 this evening. The big game between Brentford and Everton. What are the latest odds on this one for us?
Brentford, as you won't be surprised, are the favourites to win the game. Everton have been absolutely shocking this season. They've not scored a goal this season. They've lost all their 4 games, and you don't think anything is going to change today. They were absolutely toothless against Arsenal last week. Brentford at 1.95 to win the game. The draw is at 3.60 and Everton at 4.00. I think Brentford will win the game. The question is, what will be the scoreline? Do you think there's value in 1.95? I personally think for a game that is almost a bank, there's no banker in football, but you think this is like buying money. As I said, Everton are toothless. 1.95, Brentford to win the game. In terms of the goal, the scoreline, I think Brentford will beat them quite comfortably. So I'm looking at the scoreline of 2-0, 3-0, and 3-1. I'm yet to decide. Everton don't score, so then Brentford will likely keep a clean sheet. So Brentford to win 2-0 is 9.00, and Brentford to win 3-0 is 15.00. We know how crazy football is. Everton can come today and score 5 like they did at Brighton last season when they shocked everyone. But you don't expect that. Brentford to win the game 2-0, 3-0, 9.00, and 15.00. Those are the two score lines I will be betting on. 1.95 is for Brentford to win. If you're not brave enough to go with the score line, you can just go with the team to win the game in 90 minutes. Also, the first goal scorer markets. The first goal scorer markets, we've got... Okay, sorry, that's not coming up now. Sorry, just bear with me one moment. But the bet for me in that game is 3-0 and 2-0, 15.00 and 9.00.
Yeah, Brentford strong at home. Although with the run of draws, they could actually set a Premier League record today if they draw another game this afternoon.
Yeah, they don't won any game at home this season, but Everton are not a good team at all. If you're looking for a chance to break your win hoodoo, Everton will be the team you want to play.
That's very true, certainly this season. What about the game that's over in Italy, Sassuolo versus Juventus? We're covering here on Football Live. What's the latest odds for that game?
Sassuolo are 4.33 to win the game. A draw is 4.00. Juventus are 1.80. You don't even trust Juventus these days in terms of their performance. They're like Jekyll and Hyde. But I think they'll win this game at 1.80. The game will probably be 1-0, 2-0. Scoreline Juventus to win 1-0 is 9.00. Juventus is to win 2-0 is 9.50. But if you think Sassuolo will create a shocker, a big shock in the Serie A this season, Sassuolo will be 15.00, a massive 15.00 to win the game at 1-0, 23.00 to win the game at 2-0. And if you think they will absolutely batter Juventus 3-0, it's 61.00. For me, Juventus will win the game and they will win 1-0, 9.00.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Ayo Alibi. Of course, giving us the latest odds, thanks to Naira Bet as well. And of course, that's a huge price that is for the home side there. Thank you very much. I will see you again tomorrow on Football Live. Ayo Alibi there, our betting expert. Thanks very much, buddy. Enjoy your afternoon.
You too.
Well, let's head straight back to the Etihad Stadium, where chances keep flowing. But which way?
I'll mention about the changes first. We've got Chris Woods come on, and also Divock Origi's come on up top now. Basically, I don't know if they're going to go long or not. But the chances came to Man City, where they had the free kick. The free kick was was pushed out from the right hand side. It was switched over to the left hand side, and Ake got in at the back and did this wonderful cross, low cross, and Haaland just hit his knee. That could have been 3-0, just hit his knee. But Forest are pushing, but they just can't get that breakthrough. It's the quality of the ball, and City are now trying to hit them on the break. With 80 gone, it's Manchester City 2, Nottingham Forest 0.
Thank you very much, Pat. Let's go back to Selhurst Park. The deadlock yet to be broken. Crystal Palace 0, Fulham 0. But finally, that man is off the bench, isn't he, Jordan?
Yes, Carlos Vinicius is finally on. Surprised not to see him much early in this match. Like I said, he's had a good start for his career in Fulham. He's got 4 goals in his last 6 Premier League appearances. He's on for Jimenez, and also Nigerians will be happy to hear that Alex Iwobi is on for Andreas Pereira. He goes into that number 10 position, and it'll be interesting to see how he does. Of course, he played under Marco Silva before at Everton, so it'll be interesting to see what Marco Silva has planned for Iwobi at Fulham. Also, Wilson is on for Bicova Reed. So changes have been made. Let's see what impact it can make on this match, because we have 9 minutes left. Crystal Palace 0, Fulham 0.
Thank you very much, Jordan. Let's get an update from Kenilworth Road. Luton Town 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1. Of course, Wolves down to 10 men. They did take the lead, but since then, Luton have come back into it. Are they now looking like the side to go on to win it?
They certainly are. Nothing but pressure from Luton Town at the moment. The fans are up. They're trying to suck the ball into the net, but nothing doing at the moment for Luton. The pressure is on. They just need that bit of quality or that bit of luck just to get the ball in the back of the net and get the first 3 points of the season, the first 3 points at Kenilworth Road. It would mean so much for Luton and finally kickstart their Premier League season. But they are still drawing at the moment. Wolves sitting back, probably looking for a draw themselves now, not looking to win the game at all. But Luton still need to find that bit of quality. It's Luton Town 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1.
Thank you very much, Matt. Let's just bring you up to date with the scores in the English Championship. Plenty of goals in this division. It's now Ipswich Town 4, Blackburn Rovers 3. Blackburn with 3-1 down, pulled it back to 3-0, but Ipswich have just retaken the lead with their fourth goal of the afternoon. Luongo with 10 minutes to go. Can Ipswich hold on and take their place at the top of the early Championship table? It's Leeds United 2, Watford 0. 2 quick goals for Leeds United. Byram gave them the second goal after Pirro had given the lead just after the hour mark. It's Middlesbrough 2, Southampton 1. It's the City 1, Bristol City 0. Just a couple of minutes to go in that one. Jamie Vardy from the penalty spot from 12 yards getting the goal there. It's Plymouth 5, Norwich City 2. Plymouth were 5 goals up, but 2 quick goals. Have seen Norwich get a couple of consolation goals there. It's Rotherham 1, Preston North End 1, Swansea City 3, Sheffield Wednesday 0, and West Bromwich Albion 0, Millwall 0. In the Liga, it's Nantes 1, Lorient 1. Albion has just equalised for the home side after Krupi had given the visitors the lead inside 6 minutes. Let's go straight back to Selhurst Park, where Crystal Palace are taking on Fulham. Fulham have made some changes, and it's had a bit of an impact, hasn't it, Jordan?
Yeah, it's definitely had an impact. Iwobi looks bright in the middle of the park, and Wilson has shown some good touches, and Wilson was actually involved in this chance. He played it down the right-hand side to Castagna. Castagna played it then into Ream, and he played it across goal, and it looked like William was going to tap it in for 1-0 Fulham, but it was a great save from Sam Johnstone. But a big chance for Fulham. Marco Silva had his head in his hands. He couldn't believe that William didn't put that in the back of the net. But that is a bright start for Fulham with their substitutions, so maybe we will get a goal in these closing stages. Crystal Palace 0, Fulham 0.
There's still goalless there, but Fulham certainly pushing on to get another win to follow up on the victory they got last season on Boxing Day. I can turn the Liga with about 20 or so to play in Spain. Osasuna 0, Sevilla 0 is still the scoreline there. In Serie A, AC Milan did finally see out that game by a goal to nil. Leao's goal after 8 minutes was the only goal in that game. Let's head to the Etihad, where there hasn't been a chance, but there's been an injury, Patrick Norrit.
Yeah, there was an injury to Guardiola. He was kicked by Origi. I think he basically thought he could win the ball, just kicked him and stayed down for about, 3 or 4 minutes. But he's up again, but he's limping. Just after that, City had a chance. They had a free kick. They actually got this free kick, which they worked Ake on the left-hand side. He crossed it, and Haaland nearly got on the end of it again. So with 85 played, still Manchester City 2, Nottingham Forest 0.
Going into the closing stages of all of our featured games on Football Live. At Selhurst Park, Crystal Palace 0, Fulham 0. At Kenilworth Road, Luton Town 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1, and at the Etihad, as you just heard, Manchester City 2, Nottingham Forest 0. Goals now could really change the outcome of these games, certainly with the 2 games in and around London hanging in the balance. I can tell you it's half-time now in the game in League One. Nantes 1, Lorient 1. Let's go straight back to Selhurst Park. We said Fulham were pushing for a winner. Well, Crystal Palace are giving it a good shot themselves.
Yeah, it's a bit of a basketball game over here. Like I said previously, evenly matched sides. So as soon as Fulham go, Crystal Palace go. And this time it was Palace's turn. Eberechi airs there with a good through ball into Mateta. It was a fantastic through ball, had the right weight on the pass. And Mateta, his effort was a bit scuffed, but it still looked as if it was going to find the back of the net. But it was saved in the end by Leno. And both teams really pushing on. Both teams can smell the 3 points. That is good to see. Might get a late winner in this one. Crystal Palace 0, Fulham 0.
Thank you very much, Jordan. Let's go back to Kenilworth Road. Luton Town 1, Wolves 1. The fans, last we heard, were pushing, trying to will the ball into the net. And I can tell you, there has been a goal at Kenilworth Road.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
And VAR are just checking this, but as it stands, or maybe not as it stands, Luton Town have come from behind to take the lead. VAR just checking that one, and we'll give you up-to-date confirmation as soon as we have. And VAR have ruled out the goal, the offside flag. The lines were drawn and calibrated, and Luton Town denied by VAR, by the offside flag. There's still a goal apiece in the game between Luton Town and Wolves. Just for a moment, those Luton Town fans thought they'd got their first victory of the season against 10-man Wolves, but they've been denied cruelly by that VAR decision. Rightly or wrongly, we'll find out very, very shortly with Matt Temporal. Let's just bring you up to date with the full-time scores in Germany. Of course, we heard our full-time report from the game in Germany. It finished Bayern Munich 7, Bochum 0. Elsewhere, it was Augsburg 2. They held on with 10 men against Mainz. It finished 2-1. Borussia Mönchengladbach 0. RB Leipzig 1. Dortmund 1. Wolfsburg 0. And Union Berlin 0. Hoffenheim 2. Let's go back to the Etihad Stadium where the changes continue to be made, this time from the home team.
Yeah, they've made a change. Phil Foden's come off and to go on the right-hand side, and Jack Grealish has now come on, basically to hold on to the ball and draw people and get fouls, I suppose. I don't know. But at the moment, Forest is still puffing up, but not really dominating. I would say they dominated this half since Rodri was sent off, but they're just not breaking through. They just cannot get that clear chance. And the thing about it is they cannot afford to let it loose pass, because if they do, City will counter and probably get another goal. 88 gone. Manchester City 2, Nottingham Forest 0.
Thanks very much, Pat. Forest huffing and puffing, but not being able to blow down the first door, let alone the brick wall that Manchester City have got in their defence. So let's go to that game at Kenilworth Road, where the home fans have just had their joy taken away from them. Luton Town 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1. What happened, Matt?
Oh, it's a big moment in this game, and it hasn't gone Luton Town's way. They thought they'd scored the winner. It was Chiedozie Ogbene, who's been really good all afternoon. The ball gets fired into the box by Amari Bell. It takes a couple of deflections, falls to the feet of Ogbene, who slots it past the goalkeeper. The Kenilworth Road erupts in celebration, only to be stopped a few seconds later by the referee, who blows his whistle. Linesman's flag is waving. It goes to VAR. He is indeed offside. You just wonder now, can Luton go again? Can they go again and finally get that winner? They really need it. They deserve it. They've been the best team all afternoon, but they need to go and get it. It's Luton 1, Wolves 1.
Oh, thank you very much. Luton fans will be desperate for their team to find a winning goal there. So the scores in the Premier League: Crystal Palace 0, Fulham 0, Luton Town 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1, and Manchester City 2, Nottingham Forest 0. As it stands, Manchester City top of the Premier League. That will be the case whatever the result was this afternoon at the Etihad Stadium. But that 2-goal lead sees them stretch the lead to 5 points in the early stage of the season over Tottenham, Liverpool and Arsenal, who all play tomorrow. 18 points from a possible 18, 6 wins from 6. Crystal Palace and Fulham, they started the game 7 points apiece, and they'll be going to 8 points apiece, nothing to separate those two teams. It does mean, however, that they would leapfrog Nottingham Forest in the table. For Luton Town, a point for them is not enough to see them leapfrog Burnley at the bottom of the table, should things stand as they are. We've got 7 minutes of added time to be played at the Etihad Stadium. 7 crucial minutes if you're a Forest fan to try and find their way back into that one. There's 4 additional minutes to be played at Selhurst Park, where both teams are going toe-to-toe, but neither side can find a goal. Let's rejoin Jordan at Selhurst Park to see if there's an opportunity, one last gasp, and see whether one of these two teams is going to finally make a breakthrough.
Yeah, I don't report on too many 0-0 matches, so I'm still hopeful that there's going to be a goal in this one, despite there only being 3 minutes left. It looks as if both teams are just taking their foot off the gas a bit. I think they're starting to think about this one and starting to think, you know what, a point doesn't look so bad when I could lose it all. But hopefully we get a goal. Still hopeful in the dying stages of this game. Crystal Palace 0, Fulham 0.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jordan. We're known for goals here on Football Live. That game is just letting us down. Maybe not. Both teams will see that as a valuable point. But goalless in the London derby. Let's head back to the Etihad, where Jack Grealish has come freshly onto the pitch, and he's trying to make his presence felt, Patrick Norrie.
Yeah, he does what he does, doesn't he? He gets onto the ball, hold on to it, and draws a foul in. But there was a foul on him when he was just bantering the referee, but nothing happened. Still, Forest puffing and puffing, but not getting anywhere. 92 gone. Still not Manchester City 2, Forest 0.
So still 2-0 there. There's going to be 7 minutes, as I said, of added time there. There's going to be, we're into the 4th minute of added time at the game at Kenilworth Road. Luton Town 1, Wolves 1. Neither side's able to find a breakthrough. Luton pushing for it, thought they'd got it moments ago, but that goal disallowed, much to the heartbreak of the home fans looking for their first 3 points of the season, but it could well be their first point of the season. Full time starting to come in the English Championship. Leicester City scored late on through Jamie Vardy to get all 3 points at home to Bristol City, and Middlesbrough completed a comeback against Southampton to win that game by 2 goals to 1. Middlesbrough struggling this season. A big victory for them that sees them climb from the bottom of the table. They're still in the relegation zone, but 5 points, but their first victory of the season. They'll be replaced by Sheffield Wednesday, who are losing 3-0 this afternoon. Disappointing day for them, particularly when they're playing one of their relegation rivals in Swansea City. Elsewhere in the Championship, a thrilling game at Portland Road. Ipswich 4, Blackburn Rovers 3. They're into the 6th minute of injury time there. It is full time at Selhurst Park. It's finished goalless. Nothing could separate Crystal Palace and Fulham. So all the shares are spoiled in that game, despite the best efforts of both players. Plenty of chances. Sounds like an entertaining draw there, despite the fact there were no goals. Let's go back to the Etihad Stadium. We spoke about Jack Grealish, the £100 million man, enjoying himself. He's having a little one-man cameo since
yeah, I mean, he's just drawing fouls. Just Montiel, basically, he got the ball, hold on to it, doing silly tricks on it, and he got fouled. It's something he does. He does it quite well. What can I say? I mean, they're winning 2-0, running down the clock. Holland's trying to run down the clock, so they don't want Forest to get a goal. With a few minutes left, probably about 4 minutes left, I would say. Manchester City 2, Nottingham Forest 0.
Thank you very much, Jack Grealish, enjoying himself, as are the Manchester City fans. Well, they've had a nervy second half, certainly after Rodri was sent off and their team were down to 10 men, despite them having a 2-goal lead. Let's just carry on that update in the Championship. Just in the closing stages, Plymouth Argyle 5, Norwich City 2. What an afternoon there for Plymouth. 5-0 they led with about 20 minutes to go. 2 late goals has just taken a little bit of gloss off the performance, but those home fans will certainly be happy at home park seeing their side smash 5 versus a team that was certainly pushing at the right end of the table going into this one. Rotherham United 1, Preston North End 1, and West Bromwich Albion Millwall 0. No goals there between those two. Let's go back straight to the Etihad Stadium, where Nottingham Forest almost spoiled the Manchester City party.
Oh yeah, I tell you what, Willy Bolly unlucky with a goal effort, right? It could have been 2-1 edge of the box. A brilliant save by Edison stopped the ball from hitting the back of the net, and it's gone for a corner. We've got probably about 3 minutes left. Still, Manchester City 2, Nottingham Forest 0.
We're deep into injury time at Kenilworth Road. Let's go and see what's the latest state of play there in the game between Luton and Wolves. Matt Temporal.
Yeah, Luton just still huffing and puffing. We've actually played a couple of minutes more than the 6 that were added on here at Kenilworth Road, and the match is still going on. As soon as the ball goes into the Luton Town box, there is a Wolves player there to head it or kick it away. Luton Town, Corley Woodrow actually just missed a very good chance that was blocked at the edge of the box. A good chance for them to win it. Luton Town need a goal here, or it will definitely be opportunity missed.
Thank you very much, Matt Temporal. Luton Town versus Wolverhampton Wanderers. I can tell you the final was just gone now in that game. Luton couldn't find a way to get the winning goal. The only game going on in our featured games is the game between Manchester City and Nottingham Forest. Manchester City with a 2-goal lead. Nottingham Forest couldn't find a way past that Manchester City regard, despite them only having 10 minutes. Has finished there. Manchester City 2, Nottingham Forest 0. You're listening to Football Live. We're going to head you straight back to Nigeria, straight back to FJ and the team on Brilla FM. We'll join you very, very shortly here on Football Live.
You are listening to Football Live. Live and exclusive on Brilla FM.
The Premier League, the Bundesliga, Serie A, La Liga.
4 hours of football every Saturday and Sunday on Brilla FM with Football Live.
You are listening to Football Live on Brilla FM 88.9 and 101.1 FM.
Let's get back to the action on Football Live. Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Dean Kilford.
Thank you very much, FJ and the team in the British studios. You are listening to Football Live, and what an afternoon we've already had with so much more to go in the Premier League. It finished Crystal Palace 0, Fulham 0, Luton Town 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1, Manchester City 2, Nottingham Forest 0. In the Bundesliga, it finished Bayern Munich 7, Bochum 0. They were our featured earlier games. We now head over to Italy and the Serie A, where there's a game already underway. 20 minutes gone. Sassuolo were shock rank outsiders in this one, so we can only tell how this game has started for the very first time this afternoon. Let's join Michael Jeffries. Good afternoon, Michael.
And it has been a crazy game.
Powered by NairaBet.
It has been sorry about that. It's been a crazy game so far. Loriente took a shot that looked very tame from outside the box, and Chesney completely bottled his lines. Absolute howler from him, knocking it into his own goal. Just absolutely shocking, really. And then Juventus have come back with some great play from Chiesa on the left, whipping a ball into the back post. And it is quite unfortunate. Vina is trying desperately to defend for Sassuolo against McKennie, running in at the back post, but instead knocks it into his own goal. 2 errors from either team. And that leaves us at the moment with Sassuolo 1, Juventus 1.
So a goal apiece there. Sassuolo taking a shock home lead, but McKennie with the equaliser in Italy. There's a big game still coming up in the Premier League. Brentford taking on Everton. Everton struggling for goals, struggling for form, struggling for everything against an informed Brentford team that seemed to only be able to find a way to draw a game. Covering this one for us with the team news is Johnny Holmes. Good afternoon, Johnny.
Good afternoon, Dean. Yeah, absolutely. Let's take a look at Brentford first. They sit 11th in the Premier League overnight. There was an injury doubt with Rico Henry, and indeed he is not going to feature today. We've got Rasmussen on the left for Brentford. There was also a rumour that Brian Mbeumo was not going to be playing today. That has been debunked, though. He's on the team sheet. He is starting, the number 19 up front for Brentford. As for Everton, they've gone for a 4-3-2-1. And Calvert-Lewin, who could make his 250th Everton appearance, starts on the bench today. Will we see him featured? We'll find out very shortly. Only 2 minutes to go till kick-off here.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. We'll be right back with all of the action as it happens with Johnny in that one. It should be a good game. Brentford's always involved in entertaining games in the Premier League. Speaking of the Premier League, well, we've had some full times. Let's get some full-time reports. We'll start with a big game at the Etihad Stadium. It was 10-man Manchester City 2, Nottingham Forest. Still here to tell us how that went down is our very own Patrick Norret.
Yeah, it's Manchester City 2. Nottingham Forest knows how it's finished, but in the first half I would say that City had it very easy. They scored their first goal in the 7th minute. It was a wonderful by Rodri, who found Walker on the overlap, and he then crossed it to Foden, sweet left foot, bottom left hand corner, 1-0 to City. And then City tried to score again, and on the 14th minute they got the second goal. This was a ball given away by a Forest defender to a Man City defender. He then passed the ball into Rodri. Rodri then found Nunes, who was in the overlap, and what he did, he crossed it in the back post. It was a wonderful header by Haaland. Then it was 2-0 to City. Then City tried to press again, but nothing happened. In the second half, it started quite well. In the 46th minute, Rodri got himself sent off by grabbing Gibbs White around the neck. So the referee looked at VAR, yeah, it's got to go off. So he went off, and then City made a change, which I thought was a bit not like them. They brought on more defensive players. Ake came on, and Phillips came on as well. I just found that they'd lost the momentum a little bit. So all the momentum went over to Forest. Like I said, half tempo, they dominated, but just could not finish. In that 45 minutes, they would have had maybe 2 chances to score. One clear one, which was saved, another one over the bar. Apart from that, I would say City, well winners. They got the 3 points, finished Manchester City 2, Nottingham Forest 0.
Thank you very much to Patrick Norret there, reporting from the Etihad on that game for us. Manchester City 2, Nottingham Forest 0. Erling Haaland with his 8th goal of the season in just 6 games, Premier League goals, I should say. Right, let's head to Selhurst Park next. Nothing could break the deadlock between these two teams. The London derby that finished level, Crystal Palace 0, Fulham 0. The 50th time these two teams have faced each other, and Jordan Okoli was there to see how that went down.
Yes, it ended 0-0 in Selhurst Park. Both teams were very, very, very evenly matched. Every time Fulham went forward, it wouldn't be long till Crystal Palace went forward and had an attack of their own. So it was a tightly contested match. I don't know if either manager will really be happy with a 0-0 draw. I think the only people that will be happy is fantasy football managers that had any of either side's defenders. But yeah, no team really pushed on to try and get the late winner towards the end of the match. It was good to see the Nigerian Alex Iwobi come on. He looked bright. Ebere Chieze looked bright, but no goals in this one. We don't get too many 0-0s on this show. Hopefully there will be none later on this evening, but this one did end Crystal Palace 0, Fulham 0.
Thanks for that. You've just given us the kiss of death there, Jordan. Crystal Palace 0, Fulham 0. Goalless apiece, a point apiece that sees them leapfrog Nottingham Forest in the table to 8th and 9th, respectively. Let's now head to the game at Kenilworth Road, where 10-man Wolves took the lead against Luton. Luton having a goal ruled out through VAR. A bit of a contentious one, a bit of drama, but that's just exactly what we love on Football Live. And watching that one for us was Matthew Temporal.
Yes, it finished 1 apiece here at Kenilworth Road in an eventful game, an eventful 90 minutes, which Luton Town will probably see as an opportunity missed. They should have won the game. Wolves were there for the taking. In the first half, Carlton Morris hit the post with a wonderful effort. What a goal that would have been from outside of the box. Then a stupid red card from Wolves midfielder Jean Rickner Bellegarde opened up the game for Luton Town. But the opposite happened in the second half, and Wolves took the lead. A horrendous mistake by Tom Lockyer, who was dispossessed by Neto, heading towards his own goalkeeper. Neto still had a lot to do, and it was a wonderful finish to make it actually 1-0 to Wolves against the run of play and against the red card that was given to Wolves in the first half. But then Luton needed a little bit of luck, and I would say that they got that with the handball that was given against Wolves Penalty to Luton. Carlton Morris was very composed, slotted it into the bottom corner, 1-1. And then in the last 20 minutes, it was all Luton, huffing and puffing, set pieces, quick free kicks, but they just could not get the ball over the line. So Luton still looking for that first win of the season, and Wolves got away with one today. So it was 1-1 at the Kenny.
Thank you very much. Nothing to separate the two teams there at Kenilworth Road. Luton Town 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1. Luton Town getting their first point of the season, but it's not enough for them to climb off the bottom of the table. That's down to goals scored. They've scored one fewer than Burnley, although they have the same goal difference of -8. Right, games starting to kick off, including our featured game in the Premier League between Brentford and Everton. Also, the game kicking off in La Liga. A game that will be featuring is Barcelona versus Celta Vigo. Barcelona heavy favourites in this one, of course. We'll bring it all the goals as they go in there. But let's head straight back to Serie A and Italy, the game between Sassuolo and Juventus. And there's been a big chance for the visitors to turn this one around.
Yes, do you know what? It looks like two teams that are next to each other on the table, but you would not expect the Juventus are second and Sassuolo at the very bottom. They are playing such expansive, progressive football, but they are leaving themselves vulnerable to counter-attacks. And Locatelli just had a brilliant chance here. A drilled shot narrowly going past the left-hand post of Cragno in goal for Sassuolo today. If they keep allowing themselves to be that vulnerable, Juventus will eventually capitalise. But for now, it is Sassuolo 1, Juventus 1.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. We'll be back with Michael, I'm sure, very shortly. Chances and the football sounds to be free-flowing over in Italy. Let's go to the game at the Brentford Community Stadium. Brett's kicked off Brentford versus Everton. Everton just struggling for everything. Brentford known to start games brightly. How has it started, Johnny Holmes?
Brentford have indeed started very brightly, and it's Rasmussen who's been given the opportunity here today. He's in for Henry and straight away gets on the ball with a driving run at the heart of the Everton defence. And in the end, Ashley Young had no real option in the first minute of the game to chop him down and get himself into the referee's book. That's a long way to go on a yellow card. Can Ashley Young survive it? From the free kick that came after that challenge, Mbueno stood over it and curled it narrowly wide, but it's a very energetic start from Brentford, who looked good early on here. 0-0, 3 minutes played.
Well, it's still goalless there. Brentford starting sprightly and brightly in the evening kickoff against Everton. So let's just look at the Premier League table. So Manchester City with that 2-0 victory have extended their perfect Premier League record. 6 wins from 16 goals scored in those 6 games and 18 points the maximum. Just 3 conceded as well. That puts them 5 points clear of a trio of clubs, Tottenham Hotspur, Liverpool and Arsenal. Of course, those 3 clubs all play tomorrow afternoon, including a very tasty looking North London derby that we'll be covering, of course, right here on Football Live. Further back in 5th place, Brighton Hove Albion on 12 points, West Ham on 10, and then 7th place, Aston Villa on 9. Those teams all play, of course, tomorrow. Up to 8th and 9th respectively, Crystal Palace and Fulham. Their 0-0 draw sees them have a very even-looking record. 2 wins, 2 draws and 2 defeats apiece from their respective opening 6 games. They've both leapfrogged Nottingham Forest, who stand on 7 points in 10th place. That 2-0 defeat at the Etihad, despite their valiant efforts, is their 3rd defeat of the season and sees them on 7 points. And there has been a goal in the early game in the Premier League.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Well, the hosts started brightly, but it's the visitors that have taken the lead. Everton lead at the Brentford Community Stadium by 1-0. And their early shock on the cards at the Brentford Community Stadium. It's Everton. I think Patrick Norton, when we were talking earlier, talked about that infamous 5-0 win Everton had on the road at Brighton Hove Albion at the end of last season. Well, they've already got a goal here. We will be joining our reporter, Johnny Holmes, there as soon as we can to get you a full update of that one. But it is, as it stands, Brentford 0, Everton 1. In fact, let's go to Johnny Holmes, who is at the Brentford Community Stadium, to describe the goal for us.
Frantic start here, and Everton indeed lead by 1-0. It all came from a corner, whipped in by McNeil, and it was flapped away by Flecken. Everton were able to recover possession, passed it around a little bit, and the ball comes back in from McNeil on that left-hand side, and it falls for Decore in the box, who takes his chance. It's nodded down to him. He's onside, and he sweeps it into the far corner. Brilliant finish from Decore. He took his chance. It's 1-0 to Everton. 6 minutes played here.
Thank you very much, Tony. It really was a calm, controlled finish, swiping with his right foot and hitting it right into the side netting to give Brentford the lead at the Brentford Community Stadium. Let's go back to Italy, where chances and the football is free-flowing. Sassuolo versus Juventus. Michael Jeffries is there.
Do you know what? I was expecting Juventus to be the ones capitalising on this really free-flowing football. But now it's Sassuolo coming back with these attacking counter-attacks with so much flair and panache. And the ball landed at the feet of Berardi with a great chance to at least test Szczesny, who has proven himself a little bit unreliable today. And he just rolls the ball into Szczesny's gloves. And it's really a wasted opportunity for Sassuolo to turn the tide in this game, which has become quite even, quite back and forth, and I think the next goal is going to be crucial. But now, though, Sassuolo 1, Juventus 1.
So 1-1 there in that game. Sounds like a really entertaining game in Serie A. Let's just continue our visit at the Premier League table. Brentford conceding that goal to Everton, occupy 11th place. They're looking to climb as high as 7th today with victory, but it's not going their way. But still the early stage of that one, just 8 minutes played. Brentford 0, Everton 1. 12th and 13th place with 6 points are Newcastle United and Manchester United respectfully, with 2 wins and 3 defeats apiece. Then come Chelsea, just on 5 points, their lowest tally of points in the opening 5 games since the 94-95 season. Wolverhampton Wanderers point sees them climb up to 15th in the table above Bournemouth, who dropped to 16th, although as things stand, Everton would leapfrog them into 16th place. Then the bottom 3 going into the day was Everton, Burnley and Luton Town, who are rock bottom. But as it stands, Everton have climbed out the bottom 3. It's Sheffield United who will be taking that point, and it's the top 3 that came into the league that are the current bottom 3 in the table. So that brings you up to date with the live Premier League table. Let's bring you up to date with the scores around Europe elsewhere. We'll go to France and League One, and Nantes have just scored a 4th goal to extend their lead over Lorient. It's now Nantes 4, Lorient 2. So in that game, it was the Vistas Lorient who took the lead inside 6 minutes. Krupi with the goal there before Albine equalised just before the break. The second half started all guns blaming Kobe, scoring straight from kickoff to give the home side the lead and complete the turnaround. Mohamed made it 3-1 10 minutes into the break before Favre reduced the arrears to 3-2 just moments ago. And now 2 goals, and then Mullet just extended Nantes' lead by 4 goals to 2. I put my teeth back in my mouth momentarily. A wonderfully calm finish, just slotted it home, right-footed into the far corner. It's Nantes 4, Lorient 2 there in La Liga. In the Bundesliga, we covered earlier today, Bayern Munich thrashed Bochum by 7 goals. A hat-trick for Harry Kane in that one. Augsburg beat Mainz 2-1 despite seeing out the last half an hour with just 10 men. Borussia Mönchengladbach lost at home to RB Leipzig by 1-0. Timo Werner with the only goal of the game there. Dortmund beat Wolfsburg by 1-0. Reyes with the early one, giving them all 3 points and looking to climb into those early Champions League places. And Union Berlin 0, Hoffenheim 2. 2 first half goals was enough for the visitors to take all 3 points in that game. The game going on at the moment in the Bundesliga, Werder Bremen 0, FC Köln 0. That's the current scoreline there. In Serie A, the game we're covering, Sassuolo 1, Juventus 1. A thrilling game on hands there. Is about 5-6 minutes to go to half time in that one. Earlier on, it finished AC Milan 1, Verona 0. And in Spain, in the Liga, the game that will be bringing in the goals from Barcelona 0, Celta Vigo 0. That's how it stands there. Earlier on, it was Girona 5, Mallorca 3, in a thrilling game in the early lunchtime kickoff. And in the afternoon game, it finished Osasuna 0, Sevilla 0. That brings you bang up to date with the full-time scores in the top leagues all around the Europe. And I tell you what, a thrilling game going on at Nantes. Lorient have just pulled another goal back to make it 4-3. Jürgen Tosin scoring to make it 4-3 with 5 minutes to go, and you wouldn't bet there being yet more drama in that one. Let's go back to the game in Serie A. Sassuolo versus Juventus. It sounds like an absolute thrilling game. Chances flowing at both ends. Things settled down now?
No, it is still just as back and forth. I don't think it's settling until half-time, really, and these managers get a little bit of defensive acumen back into their teams. Szczesny just made an incredible save, which shocked me as well after his performance today. And then right at the other end, the Vlahovic skying a header that really should have at least tested the goalkeeper. It's just end-to-end in this game.
End-to-end stuff. Sounds like you're filling your boots there, Michael. Meanwhile, there has been a goal. There has been a goal in Italy.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Free-flowing football, Sassuolo, rock bottom of Serie A, taking on the behemoths of Juventus. Sassuolo took the early lead, and of course, you then expect, once Juventus equaliser, for them to go on and take control of this game. Well, that has not been the case, as Berardi has given Sassuolo the lead for the second time in the game with just 4 minutes gone. 4 minutes to go to half-time, I should say. We will rejoin Michael very, very shortly to get you an update on that one. Unbelievable scenes in Germany. In fact, let's go to Serie A. Let's go to see what is going on between Sassuolo and Juventus. What a goal.
Yeah, it really wasn't going to settle down, was it? Berardi running in on goal after Juventus was just sloppy around the back, really sloppy, giving possession away in their own third, and then Berardi, first time, whips it into the bottom corner. I knew he was going to be a danger man, but it was just, what a goal. What a goal. Sassuolo 2, Juventus 1.
Brilliant stuff here. What a game that's going to be. Remember, they were over 15 points, Sassuolo, before the game to get victory in that one. I wonder what the odds would be now. I'm sure we'll get the latest odds, in-play odds with NairaBet very, very shortly. Before then, though, let's run through these scores in the Championship. Ipswich, a thriller, 7-goal thriller at Portman Road, beating Blackburn by 4-3. Leeds United 3, Watford 0, Leicester City 1, Bristol City 0. Leicester continue their bright start to the season, and they are right near the top of the Championship table. In fact, they are top of the Championship table, level on points with Ipswich Town, 21 points apiece. Goal difference is in Leicester above Ipswich in the table. It's finished Middlesbrough 2, Southampton 1, Middlesbrough's first game of the season. Plymouth Argyle with the result of the day. Plymouth Argyle 6, Norwich City 2. Rotherham 1, Preston North End 1, Swansea City 3, Sheffield Wednesday 0, and West Bromwich Albion 0, Millwall 0. Meanwhile, let's go back to the game at the Brentford Community Stadium. Last we heard, Everton had taken the lead in what was a really, really bright start for both teams. How have Brentford settled into this one? Johnny Holmes.
Brentford attempting to get a foothold on this game, but Everton, it has to be said, look as comfortable as they've looked all season so far, and it's them that have just had another golden, glittering opportunity to double their lead here, as Beto flicks the header on for McNeil, who picks it up about halfway into the Brentford box and drives at the Brentford defence, running at Collins, turning him inside out and bending a flash shot across goal just wide of the post. For a second, it looked like it was going to nestle in that bottom corner, but it wasn't to be. Everton here having all the possession and all the chances. Brentford 0, Everton 1, 15 minutes played.
15 minutes played there, and it does have the kind of shades of that game down at the Amex Stadium last season, where Everton came and visited high-flying Brighton & Albion and turned away 5-0 winners. Everton certainly very much on top and having, well, certainly chance-wise, and they have the lead, of course. Let's just change tracks and bring in our fantastic producer John Kane, who, as we will talk about the North London derby tomorrow, big games happening in the Premier League tomorrow. the North London derby, one of the biggest derbies, not just in the Premier League, but worldwide in North London. It's probably one of the most heated rivalries that you could get. Let's welcome John to the chat. Hello, John.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Dean.
Yes, North London derby, Arsenal hosting Tottenham Hotspur, both flying high in the Premier League table. Arsenal, of course, finished second last year and pushing on, and Tottenham Hotspur playing this refreshing new brand of football under Ange, the Ange ball effect. It's going to be a really interesting one and a real test.
Yeah, I was going to say it's going to be a very, very interesting game, that's for sure. I think it's going to be one of the games that we haven't probably experienced in a very, very long time. I remember the 5-4 by Arsenal a few years ago, and wouldn't be surprised if we have a very similar scoreline like they did. I remember Defoe scored in that game. I can't remember the rest of the scorers, but I do remember it was 5-4. And the reason for that, it's been that big change, hasn't it, at Tottenham? I mean, all of a sudden, after about 15, 20 years, Spurs got a manager who they're just playing beautiful football, and I think that straight away had caught the hearts of the Spurs fans everywhere, and rightly so as well. They're getting the results with it as well, and he made a few changes, which has been going on for quite a while. Hugo Lloris, Eric Dyer, Davinson Sanchez gone, but Eric Dyer is part of the squad, likewise as Lloris, but they're not part of the team anymore, really. And I think Spurs were looking to change sort of deadwood, with all the respect to Dyer and Hugo Lloris, but need something different. And I think what Ange brought to Spurs is something different, and it's definitely something. Michael Arteta was on the press conference. He said he really liked Postecoglou. So to hear it from your North London rival that you're actually really good, it would mean something. Arsenal, they are still playing a beautiful football that carried on from last season, but I think they're going to be facing a team that is a bit different that they have over the last maybe 10 years or so. They are coming in with a lot of energy. Tottenham, they're coming in with loads of enthusiasm, and even if they lose that game, if they play the way they played against the last 3-4 games, I think Ange will get the benefit of the doubt with that. That's for sure from the Spurs fans.
Such a big high-stake game. Both sets of fans have such. It's the first fixture both sets of fans look out for, and it's, as I said, it's a heated rivalry. It's one with bragging rights that for 20 seasons Arsenal finished above Tottenham, and they had a day christened to mark that occasion in the calendar, St. Tottering's Day. But Tottenham then 6 seasons in a row flipped that script on its head, and then last season, for the first time in 7 years, of course, Arsenal finishing second to what some describe as the best team in the world. Do you think with the signings that Arsenal have made, do you think it's improved their team, or do you think potentially hindered the way they played? I'm particularly thinking of Declan Rice, of course, potentially improving, but it's meant a slight shift in position for Odegaard, and then they're trying to force Havertz into the team somewhere.
Yeah, no, I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, quite a few Arsenal fans have raised their eyebrows on a couple of occasions, haven't they, over the transfer market. One for Kai Havertz, who really didn't settle in well at Chelsea since his arrival from Bayer Leverkusen. He done very well for the club. He scored the winner, didn't he, in the Champions League? But he still wasn't actually doing much for Chelsea as the fans were expecting. And then he goes to Chelsea, Arsenal, and it's like the eyebrows raised. The other time, next time the eyebrows raised is buying David Raya. I still do not understand why David Raya even accepted to go to Arsenal, because David Raya wanted to leave Brentford, and he made that clear. He's a top class goalkeeper. But if you wanted to leave, you would probably have gone somewhere where you're going to be the number one, rather than actually fighting out with Aaron Ramsdale. I mean, I'd love to hear what are the Arsenal fans' comments on the social media shortly. But it's just very, very odd. I've never seen it before, in over 35 years. I've never seen when you actually bring two number ones and in that position of goalkeeping. Normally just to one. And I think Aaron Ramsdale, if I was Aaron Ramsdale, I'd be a bit upset a bit, because I think he definitely deserved to be number one, and maybe even England number one. He is actually a very, very top class goalkeeper coming from Bournemouth. So that raised an eyebrow a bit. But in general terms, Arsenal, they're a very good side. They improved on it. They brought Tossard back in January. They brought obviously Havertz, and they got rid of a few every day. Pepe has left. He's gone. Very disappointing spell with the club. So again, just like Spurs, they're trying to clear up the dead wood in that club, and I think Arteta is heading in the right direction. And I think tomorrow's game is not really going to define how good Arsenal or Spurs are, because Arsenal are playing at home. I know they had some weird results, haven't they, against Fulham, 2-2 at home, and Fulham were playing with 10 men. So that doesn't look good, does it? But at the end of the day, if Arsenal were top of the league and Tottenham were bottom of the league, or vice versa, that game will have different kind of mentality. You could see anyone winning that game, regardless of their position in the league, let alone they are actually both in the top 5 at the moment. So I think both teams, they love playing beautiful football. We expect beautiful football, and I think we discussed that before the show started. We're expecting quite a few goals, probably from both sides when it comes to it. It's going to be a very, very big game, very entertaining game, and something probably we haven't seen in a very, very long time.
Indeed, I think goals are very much on the agenda there, and are very jealous of the team tomorrow covering that one. But just harping back to the signing of David Raya from Brentford. Is it a gamble? Goalkeeping, should it be that sacred position where once you've got the jersey, you feel safe? Or actually, is this something exciting and something new where actually you don't know where your goalkeeper's going to be in the very same way that you would know, potentially who's going to lead the line? Or, I'm just trying to play devil's advocate here.
It still puzzles me. I have to admit, I haven't seen two number ones in one team, one of the big clubs in anywhere in Europe for a very, very long time. I think I didn't see anything wrong with Matt Taylor. I believe he was goalkeeper last season, the second goalkeeper, and he played very, very well for Arsenal every time he actually stepped in. And I think for me, he was happy to be this number two. Why let him go? Keep him there. Try and do your best to keep him there. I know Matt Taylor's gone elsewhere and looking for his.
Doing well at Forest, isn't he, at the moment?
He is doing very well at Forest, but you think he will try harder. And if you want to if Matt Taylor decided to leave, and that was the end of his contract, then trying to get someone else who can be number two, because no way you can see people like I'm trying to think people like Lloris. Lloris is not even number two at the moment. He's out of the squad, isn't he? But he's still part of the squad, sorry, I beg your pardon, but he's not really part of the team, not even on the sub bench, because you've got Fraser Forrester there. But if he Lloris have to be second field for Vicario, Lloris would not like it. Buffon, if he was back in the day when he was at Juve, and you bring in, I don't know, Oliver Kahn, he would not like it. And I think that's what we've done today. That's what Arsenal did today. And if an Arsenal fan can tell me a good reason why he actually brought in another number one goalkeeper, then please let me know, because I can't see the logic in that in any way, shape or form. I honestly can't.
It does seem curious, but Ray obviously came on for his debut against Everton, wasn't it?
And he done very well. He done very, very well, and that's a problem. You're having two number ones, and on paper, if you're playing Football Manager and you got it right in front of you, you think, oh, that's brilliant, isn't it? Because Football Manager is two computers, basically, and it's not like you're going to sit down with them and going to persuade them or anything like that. You can't do that in a Football Manager. Whereas if you're actually talking, you got two real life players and both of them want to be number one, how are you going to fix it? Yes, if Ramsdale gets injured, but when did actually a top goalkeeper got injured? Very rare, doesn't it? And when that happens, normally not for a long period of time, and you normally have a backup to come in. Now, we haven't got a backup at Arsenal. We got another equivalent of number one, and honestly, I just don't know why David Raya decided to go to Arsenal. Good luck to him. Absolutely good luck to him, and he'll do well. But is he going to get his chances? And if he gets his chances, is that going to upset Ramsdale? I think it will, personally.
Yeah, I think Ramsdale's only going to be the player that's going to lose in that situation. Although it's only a loan move at the moment. It's not a permanent transfer. Although Arsenal can trigger that at the end of the season. Should just clarify that one. Although the fee, I believe, is £30 million. I think that's what the agreed fee was, which was less than some clubs offered him. I think Tottenham offered him more than that to join them earlier on in the transfer window.
They have, haven't they? And he was so close with moving to Tottenham, and it just didn't go right. And I think Spurs fans, when it comes to transfers, straight away you have to look at Daniel Levy, don't you? And you think, right, what does Levy want, rather than actually what the team wants sometimes, with all the respect to Tottenham. And I mean, there's a rumour apparently that, not a rumour, it's actually there was a news yesterday that Everton want 10 million. They have to pay £10 million for Dele Alli if he plays the next 2 or 3 games, I believe, in the Premier League, as part of the deal that sent Dele Alli to Everton. Now, knowing Daniel Levy, I won't be surprised if he actually end up getting Dele Alli back, and he'll get £10 million on top of it, because he's that kind of a chairman who's just happy to get the money in any way, shape, or form. But I believe there's been a goal. Dean.
There has been a goal in Spain.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
It's been a goal in Spain. Barcelona 0, Celta Vigo 1. Larson with the goal for the visitors, and it's been coming. The visitors on top. It was a cracking strike from the edge of the box into the bottom right-hand corner to give the visitors a shock lead in that one. And also, there's been a goal in London.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
And it's an equaliser for Brentford. It's Brentford 1, Everton 1. Janssen with the equaliser for the home team. We will be joining Johnny Holmes very, very shortly to get an update on that goal. It has been, by all accounts, all Everton up until that point. In fact, let's go and join Johnny Holmes right now to see. It's been a pretty thrilling game.
Absolutely, you just can't make it up. Everton have just smashed a shot against the crossbar, Decore, but minutes ago, and then suddenly Brentford are level. It's Jensen who receives the ball on the right-hand side. Lovely build-up. Mabueno getting involved, nods the ball forward to Visa. It then falls to Norgard, who slips it out wide beautifully for Jensen, who smashes his shot across the goalkeeper, straight down the other end from an Everton huge opportunity. However, VAR might be looking into this one. You might want to come back to me there, Dean.
Okay, we will join Johnny very, very shortly to find out whether this goal will stand. It's very, very tight looking call. The lines are being drawn, but you are, of course, listening to Football Live.
You are listening to Football Live.
Sports Radio 88.9 Brila FM.
Take Brila anywhere, everywhere.
Yes, you can take Brila with you anywhere, everywhere.
The Brila app is available for free download on Google Play. It is also there on the Apple iTunes Store. Yes, on Google Play and the Apple iTunes Store.
Look out for the Brila football and microphone logo with the letters BRILA in green colour.
That is our authentic app. It gives you Brila FM, Brila.net, BrilaSports.tv, and all the extra betting tips, live score, plus our Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Google Plus, and YouTube posts.
Sports fun. You can post your videos and eyewitness reports.
Brila, BRILA. Available for download on Google Play and the Apple iTunes Store.
You are listening to Football Live. Live and exclusive on Brila FM.
The Premier League, the Bundesliga, Serie A, La Liga.
4 hours of football every Saturday and Sunday on Brila FM with Football Live.
You are listening to Football Live on Brila FM 88.9 and 101.1 FM.
Place 10 bets, get one free. You can earn an unlimited number of free bets with NairaBet. No matter which game you're watching right now, feel the thrill with our live match special. For every 10 in-play bets placed, you will receive a 5,000 Naira free bet. Log in to www.nairabet.com. Click on the Live tab. Place 10 in-play bets on different games. Then the free bet is yours. Full details can be found on our promotions page. Must be over 18. Minimum stake of 5,000 Naira per live bet. Minimum odds of 1.2 per live bet. General and free bet terms and conditions apply. Please gamble responsibly. Coming up tomorrow on Football Live with Chris Baldwin. Arsenal taking on Tottenham Hotspur. Aston Villa go to Chelsea. Live and exclusive on Brila FM.
You are listening to Football Live.
Let's get back to the action on Football Live. Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Dean Kilford.
Well, I can tell you, after a very lengthy VAR check, which almost ran the whole length of those adverts, the goal was given. Brentford have equalised against Everton. Let's go straight back to the Brentford Community Stadium, and Johnny Holmes, just to describe what's happening, the goal really came against them on a play.
It really did. Everton are going to absolutely rue those missed chances, and they had so many of them. Decore smashing a shot against the crossbar, and before that, Mikolenko fired his shot through on goal straight at the goalkeeper. And now Everton are level. And as you say, a very lengthy VAR check. It was all around Mbeumo, who looks like he might have been offside when he flicked the ball on in the lead up to the goal that was scored by Jensen and set up by Janelt. A long time for the lines to be drawn. A long time for the referee and VAR to sort it all out, but the goal has been given. It was a very close one. Goal given, Brentford won and Everton won now. 33 minutes played here.
Brilliant, thank you very much, Johnny. Sounds like a really thrilling game there. There was also a thrilling game going on in Serie A, the game between Sassuolo and Juventus. Big shock on the cards. It is half-time in that game. Michael Jeffries is here to tell us all about it.
Yes, Dean, it's a crazy game. Juventus have 59% possession in this half and 0 attempts on goal. Their one goal coming from Matheus Vina's own goal. And just at the end there was a VAR check for a handball from Ruan, who it struck his hand after Vlahovic hit it against him, but it wasn't given due to an offside from Juventus that was honestly millimetres in it. It was so hard to tell, and that would have put Juventus back into this game, put them level potentially if they got it in. And I mean, the shock here is immense. You can see it from the shot where Vlahovic and Case are looking at each other like, what is going on here? None of us seem to know. And the best thing I've seen in this game so far is the replay of that Szczesny error earlier on there, where it looks like it trickles under his legs and actually comes in off his backside. It has been an absolute howler from Juventus so far, but half-time might be what they need to turn it around. So far, Sassuolo 2, Juventus 1.
So Sassuolo 2, Juventus 1. Thank you very much, Michael. We'll join you. The second half kicks off in that one. Let's actually just check in with the latest odds from NairaBet.
The latest in-play betting odds from NairaBet.
Yes, the latest odds from NairaBet, and of course all these prices are subject to change. In Serie A, as you just heard at half-time from it's Sassuolo 2, Juve 1. Sassuolo are 2.25 for the win. The draw is 3.10, and Juve away win is 3.60, so it's not a bad odds on that one. The German Bundesliga, 36 minutes gone, is Werder Bremen 0, Cologne 1. Werder Bremen not having the best of times, haven't they, over the last couple of seasons. They are 6.0 for the win, 4.0 for the draw, and 1.60 for a Cologne away win. The English Premier League, 36 minutes gone, we just heard it's Brentford 1, Everton 1. Brentford are slightly favourites on that game, which is quite understandable, playing at home against a team that is actually struggling at the moment. Brentford are 2.30 for the win, the draw is 2.88, and the Everton away win is 4.0. Spanish La Liga, we're keeping an eye on that. 34 minutes gone. Barcelona are losing at home to Celta Vigo by a goal to nil. It's just gone up for Barcelona to 2.0 for the win. The draw is 3.60 and it's just gone down to 4.0 for a Celta Vigo away win. And if we go back to the Brentford game, we've already seen 2 goals already. If you think it's going to be over 3.5 goals, i.e. 4 goals or more, this 1.95 is 1.95. It's not a bad odds. So if you think it's over 4.5 goals, is 3.80. Some other different odds, if you like. Brentford to win 2-1 is 4.33. If you think Brentford to win 4-1 is 23.0. But if you think Everton will win 2-1 is 6.50, and Everton if they win 4-1 is 67.0. Of course, all these prices are from Narabet and they're all subject to change.
Thanks, as always, to our very own John Kane for the latest odds from Narabet. In-play betting, of course, odds subject to change. Let's go straight back to the Brentford Community Stadium. Brentford equalising, surely looking to push to retake the lead, but it almost went against them.
It really did. And Everton, how many chances are they going to need to stick another one into the back of the net here? It's beautiful play by Idrissa Gueye in the midfield, who shimmies away from his man, creates a yard of space, and that's all he needs to slide a beautiful through ball into Beto, who's through on goal, by the way. Has plenty of time to weigh it up, plenty of time to watch as Brentford goalkeeper Flecken rushes out towards him. He goes for the dink, the cheeky tip, but he gets it slightly wrong and it goes slightly wide of the goal. Another massive Everton chance. Are they going to rue these ones as well? It's still Brentford 1, Everton 1, 38 minutes played.
Brilliant stuff. Brentford 1, Everton 1. Just to put the sort of explanation point on that, Brentford had 4 shots in the game, 1 on target. Everton 7 shots. The visitors really in the ascendancy, certainly chance-wise, but only 2 on target. Of course, a goal apiece as it stands at the Brentford Community Stadium. In League One in France, we told you about a thrilling game at Nantes versus Lorient. Last I told you about, Lorient had scored a third to pull it back to 4-3. I said there may well be more goals in this game. There was another goal in the 98th minute. Simon penalty made it 5-3 to Nantes, who finished winning that game by 5-3. And that victory sees Nantes climb up the table, and they're now in 6th position in those European places, just level on points with Paris Saint-Germain, who started the season really, really poorly in La Liga. Of course, they still have their talisman, but they're struggling so far at the start of this season. Second half's just started in the game we're featuring in Serie A, Sassuolo versus Juventus. Let's just see if there's been any changes in that one. Michael Jeffries, as we are, or Juventus decided to change things about a bit?
I mean, it's hard to tell early on, but Juventus seem to have come out with a different energy in the second half. I just can't tell if it's a positive one yet. They seem more urgent, but likewise more frantic and a bit more desperate. It looks like they've really had quite a lecture from their manager at half-time, but hard to tell it's had a positive impact yet. The Swallows still look quite menacing and very determined to even increase their goal advantage, which at the moment stands at Sassuolo 2, Juventus 1.
Thank you very much, Michael. We'll be back with you as soon as we get any chances in that game. There's still another game to come in the Premier League. It starts after we've gone off air. It's a late kickoff between Burnley and Manchester United. And just ahead of that game, Vincent Kompany spoke to us to let us know his thoughts on a late Saturday kickoff.
I'll only try and assess them in a way that I need to do for my team. So strengths and weaknesses, I've been in a big club before. I know what it is when you lose a couple of games. The pressure can mount, but it's not for me to talk about them. I mean, the main thing is what they do on the pitch, and that's what I focus on. I really want the place to become a a difficult place to go to for any team. But at this moment in time, when we've played against teams of the caliber of United, it's fair to say we haven't been able to put in a 100-minute performance, if you like. We've always had threat. We've always been there in 45-minute spells or something. But, we got punished in the moments where we weren't at our best. So for us, it's more looking into this game as can we step it up and can we get a result against one of the top teams in the league.
Vincent Kompany there talking ahead of that game. A big game for Burnley. Currently sitting second from bottom of the table. Just 1 point from the opening 5 games. Manchester United struggling for form. And of course, they losing in what ended up being a thrilling game, although they were outplayed for the large part of it at the Allianz Arena. 4-3, that Champions League game finished. Let's go straight back to the Brentford Community Stadium, where chances are coming across more frequently than London buses.
Oh, it's chances left, right and centre here. First, a slight penalty appeal for Everton as Beto, gliding away from his man, tries to slide a ball across the box to Idrissa Gueye. It's slightly behind him. If the pass is right, it's a certain goal. He goes down under very, very little contact off the ball, and quite rightly, no penalty given. And a huge chance just gone begging for Brentford. It's beautiful interplay in the final third. Visa slides it to Mbeumo, who plays it across the box. It's begging for a touch. Any touch and it's a goal, and sliding in comes Lewis Potter, but he just can't reach it, an inch away, and he just couldn't quite convert. Brentford 1, Everton 1. What a game, 43 minutes played.
What a game indeed, and what a chance that was. If we just cut it back a inch or two further back, that was a certain tap at the back post, and Brentford would have turned this game on its head. Earlier on at this, we were having a deep conversation about the North London derby. We were talking about the defensive players, but we should give a mention to the attacking players. Of course, these two teams playing attacking football, scoring lots of goals, and one man who's certainly enjoying themselves is the man who won the Premier League Player of the Month for August, and that man will be wearing the lily white of Tottenham Hotspur, the visitors. And this player is James Maddison, a £40 million signing from Leicester City. He was talking to us just about how much he is enjoying himself and what it means to him to be the Premier League Player of the Month.
Yeah, it feels really good. Been nominated for the award a few times over my Premier League career so far, but first time I've actually won it. So nice feeling to get the recognition of a good start, and obviously I'll always say I'll give the credit back to my teammates because they've given me the platform and the club and the manager to be able to go and perform, and it's not always easy as a new player at a new club in your first month in the Premier League. So if you'd offered me that at the start of the season, I would have bit your hand off.
Absolutely. James Maddison fitting into life at Tottenham Hotspur like a duck to water. Let's go to Serie A, the game between Sassuolo and Juventus. There has been a couple of changes, I believe, for the home team. Are they looking to shore things up in the second half, or are they still playing that expansive football?
It's hard to tell, but that seems to be the intention. Ruan has been substituted off. He was the one guilty of the handball in the first half that could have been a penalty if not for the offside. And Viti has come on, perhaps to shore up the defence a little bit. And meanwhile as well, Sassuolo have just got a yellow card for Balocca after fouling Chiesa, who is still looking very menacing as their talisman for Juventus. And Chiesa tried a very daring free kick. He tried to knock it under the wall and it just went narrowly wide. But it does seem like Sassuolo are shoring up their defence a little bit. These cynical challenges, these substitutions, it could be that the game dynamic is shifting a little bit now. But now, though, it's Sassuolo 2, Juventus 1.
So Sassuolo still leading there. And remember, they were as far out as 15.5 to win this ahead of kickoff. You can get just over 3 in the latest odds from Nerabets if you check out the website. So later on this evening, Burnley taking on Manchester United, a big game. Two teams that are struggling, and the reason why we segue is a goalkeeping howler from Wojciech Szczesny gifted Sassuolo the opening goal. Another goalkeeper that had a howler was Manchester United goalkeeper Andre Onana, who lets that Sane effort from the edge of the box slip between his fingers. He was talking to us about that error and ahead of the game against Burnley this evening.
It's difficult, it's difficult to lose this way.
In the beginning, we start very good, and after my mistake, we lost the control of the game. It's a difficult situation for us, for me especially, because I'm the one who let the team down. And but the team was good, were very good, I think, because of me. We didn't win this game, so yeah, I'm happy for the work of the teams, and we just have to move on.
So a big game for him, and there's a big chance for him to put it right against, of course, a former Manchester City legend, led Vincent Kompany, as he takes his Burnley team take on Manchester United later on this evening. Elsewhere, there's been another goal in the game between Werder Bremen and Köln. Werder Bremen equalised 7 minutes before half-time. Rafael Bora getting the finish. Great counter-attack sees them level at the break. It is half-time now in that game. It's nearly half-time at the game at the Brentford Community Stadium, a game that we don't want to stop, do we, Johnny Holmes?
Not at all. I don't want half-time at all in this one. There's been a couple of more big chances for both sides. Everton, for a start, Idrissa Gueye, who's having a really lovely game in midfield, slides Beto in again. He's pushed a little bit wider than he might have wanted to be with that through ball from Idrissa Gueye, and he just can't wrap his foot around it enough, and it dribbles out wide. And then Brentford have had a slight penalty appeal at the other end here, as Visser goes down under a little bit of a shove, it looked like, from Tarkowski there. Little bit of afters, but nothing given. And yeah, I really don't want to see half-time in this one. Can it continue for another 45 minutes with no break? It's 1-1 here, 47 minutes played.
I like the idea and the concept, Johnny. I'm not sure the players would like it. So still a goal apiece there between Brentford and Everton. Meanwhile, back in Serie A, has been an interesting couple of minutes for Danilo. Michael Jeffries is here to tell us more about it.
Oh, he's had a shocker, Dean. He really has. Free header from the corner. Sassuolo allegedly trying to shore up their defence, but clearly not for corners. And he heads it higher than the Hindenburg, way over the bar. And then mere moments later, commits a really nasty challenge on Berardi, deservedly getting the yellow. It's been a really poor 5 minutes for him. But for now, Sassuolo 2, Juventus 1.
Still 2-1, and Danilo having an interesting couple of minutes indeed. I can tell you it is now half-time at the Brentford Community Stadium. Brentford 1, Everton 1, the scoreline there. The score as it stands would see Everton get their second point of the season and would leapfrog Sheffield United in the table. That would leave the three that got promoted in the bottom three in the Premier League. For Brentford, it would see them leapfrog Nottingham Forest, who have already slipped down a couple of places today following their defeat and the draw between Palace and Fulham. And Brentford would be on 7 points from their opening 6 games, the way things stand. Earlier on in the Premier League, of course, just mentioned Manchester City 2-0. They beat Nottingham Forest. 2 first-half goals. Erling Haaland scoring the second, his 8th in 6 appearances this season. Phil Foden with the opener. That was before Rodri was sent off at the start of the second half. And then Nottingham Forest went from backs to the wall to really being on the front foot, but they couldn't create anything clear-cut. And Ederson had a relatively comfortable afternoon in net and preserved his clean sheet. And a result that sees Manchester City make it 6 wins from 6 in the Premier League to start this season. At Kenilworth Road, the first point for Luton Town, a 1-1 draw at home to 10-man Wolves. Wolves down to 10 men just before the break, but it was the visitors that took the lead. Nunes capitalising on an awful error to give the visitors the lead. They almost extended it before a dubious awarding of a penalty saw Luton have the chance to equalise. Morris equalising from the spot. Luton then had a goal disallowed through offside in that game. They couldn't find a way to find a winner, but they do get their first point of the season. And the Spurs were shared a goalless draw between Crystal Palace and Fulham, and then standing a counter, but neither side could break the deadlock. It seems like both sides need a striker in that one. Chances created, but no one to put them in the back of the net. Let's go straight back to Serie A, the game between Sassuolo and Juventus, and a potential red card in this game, Michael.
Yeah, do you know what? It is a nasty one from Berardi. He really stamps on Bremer from Juventus. And I didn't catch it the first time round. I wasn't sure what was going on. I thought it had been given to Berardi, the free kick. But he lunges a bit late in for the challenge and plants his studs right on to Bremer's calf. it's a nasty one, but the check is over. It hasn't been given. I'm not entirely sure why, to be honest with you, Dean. But there is no foul play allegedly involved in that, and we're just going to carry on here with Sassuolo 2, Juventus 1.
I mean, at best, that's a very, very high orange card. Very, very lucky man to stay on the pitch, and it's still 2-1 to the home team there in Serie A. I can tell you it's half-time in the game between Barcelona and Celta Vigo. It's the visitors that have the lead. Larsson's goal after 23 minutes has given the visitors the lead there. All to do for Barcelona, a team that obviously led with Felix, Lewandowski and Torres as a front three, Gundogan, Romeo and De Jong, their midfield, that front six not being able to find a way to put the chances together. Celta Vigo having the lead, and Larsson's goal, the difference between the two teams. So that pretty much brings you up to date. Of course, in the Bundesliga, the game we were featuring here on Football Live, a Harry Kane hat-trick, his first for his new team, saw Bayern Munich beat Bochum, or thrash Bochum, I should say, by 7-0. What a afternoon for them, or an afternoon to forget for Bochum fans, not for the first time being heavily beaten this season. So that brings you up to date with the games we're covering here on Football Live. Let's get a half-time report from the game at the Brentford Community Stadium. Everton took a very, very early lead in that game against Brentford, but after missing several chances, Brentford found their way back into it, and it's been fairly even-Steven since.
Yeah, absolutely. A welcome breather for the players, as you said, Dean. But us fans here, us spectators watching, we just want to see more of that action. A brilliant end-to-end game, both sides creating chances. Everton certainly not taking the amount of chances that they were able to create, but they did go ahead early through Decore. A brilliant finish, in fact, as he smashed the ball into the far corner. And then it was all Everton for the next 20 or so minutes. They were trying to hammer the door down and double their lead. They had several chances. Decore himself with a big opportunity, smashing the ball against the crossbar, and then right down the other end go Brentford. This is how Premier League football can be sometimes. Brentford straight down the other end. A lovely little bit of link-up play between Norgard, Visser and Bueno, Janelt, and then finally Jensen, who found the finish. And there was an offside check, but the goal was given. And that was the goal that puts Brentford back level going into half-time here. What has the second half got in store for us? We'll find out. More on the way.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much. Johnny Holmes there covering the action, Brentford versus Everton. It seems a case of deja vu for Everton, but not normally away from home. At home, they've had a couple of games where they've completely dominated, but have come away with nothing here. Away from home, they've had the chances, but once again, can't put the ball in the back of the net. It's time now for us to rejoin the studio in Nigeria. FJ and the team will hand you over, and we'll see you again very, very shortly here on Football Live.
You are listening to Football Live. Live and exclusive on Brila FM.
The Premier League, the Bundesliga, Serie A, La Liga.
4 hours of football every Saturday and Sunday on Brila FM with Football Live.
You are listening to Football Live on Brila FM 88.9 and 101.1 FM.
Let's get back to the action on Football Live. Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Dean Kilford.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back, and thank you to FJ and the team in the studio. Well, let's go straight to Serie A. Let's get an update on the game between Sassuolo and Juventus. Sassuolo, 15 shots in this game, 4 on target. Remember, they were over 15s odds-wise to get a victory in this game. Juventus, 13 shots, not 1 on target. Their goal was an own goal, of course. Here to bring us bang up to date is Michael Jeffries.
Yeah, we'll start with a Juventus chance that was missed. Probably the closest they've actually come to getting a goal by themselves. They're in on goal. Vlahovic is the perfect person you want in that position, the number 9, and he misses it by the narrowest of margin, just past the post. It was beautifully placed, just a tiny bit out. But the best chance so far has come from Lorient. It was an amazing ball from Berardi, like genuinely exquisite, outside of the foot. through on goal, but it's just a tiny bit behind Lorient, which made him sky it over the bar. Otherwise, Sassuolo would be even further in front. And one person that's made a massive impact since coming on is Vitti, who replaced Ruan at half-time and has really shored up the Sassuolo defence. He's been really good at controlling the play for Sassuolo and making it a little bit trickier for Juventus, which I think is one of the reasons why it is now Sassuolo 2, Juventus 1.
Thank you very much, Michael. Game is back underway at the Brentford Community Stadium. Brentford 1, Everton 1 was the half-time score. It was a pretty thrilling one that we didn't want to end. How's the second half started, Johnny Holmes?
A little bit scrappier, it has to be said, than the first half here. A little bit of a scare, slight scare for Brentford, slight injury scare, as Jensen was off for a little bit of time, and Rasmussen also showing signs of injury. Perhaps cramp early on, but it does seem like both players are okay and able to continue, which is great news for Brentford fans. Everton having the possession so far into this second half. No chances either way, and nothing really doing so far. Let's hope it does liven up a little bit more as the first half did, and it'll be back to some heart-in-mouth action. Brentford 1, Everton 1, 50 minutes played.
Thanks very much, Johnny. Meanwhile, back in Serie A, there's been a fourth goal.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Well, just a couple of moments ago, Juventus hadn't even had a shot on target, but they have now, Michael.
Yes, do you know what? If it was going to be anyone, it was going to be Chiesa. He has been looking menacing all day, but just hasn't had any service. And this isn't the best service either. It's a loose looping ball over the whole of the Sassuolo pack, but is picked up by Fagioli on the edge of the area. He pulls it back to Chiesa, and Chiesa just knows what to do with it. Hits it towards the keeper's near post. It ricochets off defenders. It's a really, really difficult one there from Cragno, and he just can't get rid of it. And that makes it 2-2. Sassuolo versus Juventus.
So Sassuolo 2, Juventus 2 there. What a thrilling game that one is. In Italy, I wouldn't bet against there being more goals in that game. Chiesa with the equaliser with Juventus's first shot on target, 2 apiece in that one. In Germany, it's about 10 minutes gone in the game between Werder Bremen and FC Köln. The game still 1 apiece in that one. And in the Liga, second half just underway again for Barcelona versus Celta Vigo. It's the away team that are still leading by a goal to nil. Big shock on the cards in Spain. The big shot maybe not on the cards in Serie A as it was but a couple of moments ago. Let's go straight back to the Brentford Community Stadium where the visitors just now potentially starting to sense they can get something from this game.
Is this second half going to go the same way as the first? That's the big question here, because early on we've got another Everton chance here. It's McNeil, the number 7 for Everton, bending a shot from about 20 yards out, just on the edge of the D, and he bends his shot straight at the goalkeeper Flecken there. We know that Everton have had chances in this game, and we know they haven't been putting them away. Are they going to get many more? Are they going to rue those missed opportunities? 52 minutes played here. It's Brentford 1, Everton 1.
Brentford 1, Everton 1, evenly poised in that game. And we will be back to Johnny if anything else happens in that one. Let's just run you through the full-time scores of the earlier games that we covered here on Football Live. In the English Premier League, it finished Crystal Palace 0, Fulham 0, Luton Town 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1. Wolves were down to 10 men in the first half, but took the lead in that one shortly after the half-time interval. Luton Town equalising with a fortuitous penalty, but then had a goal ruled out for offside by VAR, so they were denied their first victory of the season, but they do still pick up their first point of the season, but remain rock bottom of the Premier League. League leaders, Manchester City, increased their lead. It's 6 wins out of 6 for the Citizens. 2-0 victory at home to Nottingham Forest, although they did have Rodri sent off just after the interval, and they did have some nervy moments in that game, but they managed to hold on and ultimately succumb to their 6th win of the season. For Nottingham Forest, they dropped 3 places in the table, courtesy of that defeat. Crystal Palace and Fulham both leapfrogging them, and as it stands, Brentford will as well. In Germany, it finished Bayern Munich 7, Bochum 0, a real thrashing for Bochum at the hands of Harry Kane led Bayern Munich. He scored a hat-trick today to make it 8 goals in 6 games for him. Meanwhile, I believe in Italy, there has been a 5th goal in the game between Sassuolo and Juventus.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Well, surely this time the visitors had to take the lead, but have they? Let's join Michael Jeffries to find out.
Oh, you won't believe this one, Dean. It's just cruel. It's Sassuolo again, and it echoes the one that Szczesny made an error with earlier. Lorient on the edge of the box, taking a beautiful, powerful shot against Szczesny, but he does save it, just straight into the path of Pinamonti, the number 9 for Sassuolo, who only has to header it over Szczesny, who's frolicking on the ground, and it is now 3-2 Sassuolo versus Juventus. Just tragic, really.
Oh, what a game is in store there. And all of those that have taken a punt on Sassuolo in this game, maybe seeing your bets very well, Julie, justified in that one. There was a VAR check on that goal, and the goal has been given. So it is Sassuolo 3, Juventus 2, and Sassuolo have taken the lead for the 3rd time in this game with just 7 minutes to go plus stoppage time. Meanwhile, let's just go back to the Brentford Community Stadium. Things cooking up nicely in the game between Brentford and Everton. Will this second half live up to the high quality of the first, Johnny Holmes?
So far, it hasn't been quite the same intensity, I would say, Dean. Everton are still looking like the better side. It's strange because they are the away side here, but it looks like those sort of roles have been reversed. Usually, you do see the home side dominate possession and the away side try and hit on the break. It's the complete other way round here. Brentford have only really shown glimpses on the break at pace. They have great pace with that front three, of course, including Vissa and Mabueno. But Everton are the ones trying to unlock the door here. They've had all the possession. They've had all the chances. It is still 1-1 here, though, after 55 minutes.
There's still a goal apiece there. Meanwhile, let's just bring in John Kane once more, our producer and one of our football experts here on Football Live. Just to preview some of the big games tomorrow. There are no fewer than 5 Premier League games tomorrow, including 6 of the top 7 taking place, including that North London derby, which we did touch upon earlier this afternoon. Meanwhile, there's a big game: Liverpool versus West Ham. It's 2nd versus 4th in the North London derby. It's 3rd versus 6th. West Ham United surprising a few people this season. 3 wins, including a big scalp, beating Chelsea. Maybe that's not a big scalp anymore. And of course, beating Brighton Hove Albion. That is a big scalp, and Brighton's only defeat of the season in the league so far. Previewing that one, John, how big a challenge is this for Liverpool?
Liverpool coming in with a new spirit, haven't they, this season? Quite a lot of changes has been made. We've seen people, Solisbal has been absolutely brilliant in that midfield, absolutely refreshing. And then when you think they actually sold Fabinho and Jordan Henderson and they brought in McAllister and Solisbal in that midfield, I think people say, all right, let's wait and see. You didn't have to wait long, didn't you? And to see how good they are in that midfield. And up front, Nunez is doing his job every time he's coming in on the pitch. Liverpool really mean business this season, and I think last season was a bit of an off one, wasn't it, really? And I think every single club goes, doesn't matter how good they are, they're always going to go through off times, off season, players, managers, teams. And that was for Liverpool. And I think Liverpool, you will see them probably in Champions League again next season, after missing out for it this season. Liverpool are definitely on the up when you compare them to what happened last season. West Ham, absolutely refreshing, isn't it? I think David Moyes was a favourite to get sacked before this season starts, even though he won the a European trophy literally a few weeks beforehand. But he just brought in that different blood, isn't he, into the club. I think he judged the money that he spent from Declan Rice. People thought, right, he's going to make a big difference. Declan Rice leave West Ham. He did, but to be fair, West Ham playing better, aren't they? It's this weird, isn't it? It's sometimes a player leave with shall we say, some sort of like a, you know, they are that team, isn't it? It's like Harry Kane is Mr. Tottenham and Declan Rice is Mr. West Ham. Yet they both left, and their previous teams are doing much better. And I think sometimes when you have a player who is so big in your club, it sometimes overshadows everyone else's. Whereas now it puts everyone in sort of like an equal terms and everyone fighting for each other. I'm not saying they weren't with Harry Kane and Declan Rice were. I'm only saying is when there is one player who is sticking out of everyone else, it can become a bit of a pressure on that player and it'll be pressure on the rest of the players. But now the pressure is different. Now it's like sort of like, right, it doesn't matter who scores, we are level. Whereas, if Harry Kane scores, Harry Kane has scored. If Declan Rice made an assist, scored a goal, he scored a goal. And I think both of them have benefited so much from having Harry Kane and Declan Rice leaving. And it proved it in their game so far, especially for West Ham.
Well, for West Ham, I think the way they've invested the money, they've done it really cleverly, and they've just improved their squad all around. They look stronger in every position, and competition for places. And they've learned to live with life without Rice in the same way that Kane have certainly learned to live without Harry Kane. Although both of those players are doing pretty well themselves in their respective new clubs. Where do you see this one going? If you were a betting man, John, where would you see this going? Do you think Liverpool is just going to be too strong for West Ham, or can you see West Ham causing maybe somewhat of an upset?
I don't think they will cause an upset, but I think they definitely got in the chance to getting a draw out of that game. And I would not be surprised, and it shouldn't be a surprised result if it was a draw, because West Ham are on top form. Yes, they lost to Manchester City in their last game at home, but we're talking about Man City. It's very, very kettle of fish, isn't it? Whereas Liverpool are still building up within this season, and I would not be surprised if West Ham get at least a point out of that game.
Indeed, and the way that Liverpool have started this season, they've seemed to have left it late. You mentioned about sort of getting late goals in their games, mostly against Wolves. They were a goal down with about 15 minutes to go, weren't they, before they turned it around to win that game 3-1. They play rather than the fast starts we're used to seeing with this Liverpool team. They're sort of learning how the game's going and then finding a way to win. Slightly different tactics from Jurgen Klopp's men.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like I said, they made a few players redundant. John Henderson gone to Saudi Arabia, Fabinho gone to Saudi Arabia. A few other players have left, and quite a few players have arrived. So all these players, they need a bit of a time to adapt. I think probably the biggest disappointment so far in Liverpool is actually Cody Gakpo. I haven't seen much of him since he arrived to Liverpool, and I know some people will think that he's brilliant up front. He was brilliant up front before he came to Liverpool, and I'm not denying his ability. I just don't think so far he hasn't found that point, that when you say, right, okay, Gakpo is actually here to score the goals for us. He hasn't been doing it. He missed quite a few chances, didn't he, in the last game last weekend. I was like, how can he miss that? It seems like the kid had so much pressure on his head at the moment. And I think since that pressure goes a bit, it's like Richarlison, at Tottenham, that pressure just goes off a bit. They can perform a bit better. And I think Gakpo will come strong eventually. But I think for the time being, I think he's finding times at Liverpool not as easy as anyone else expected.
Absolutely, John. I think he probably just needs a run in the team, and I think that's difficult when you look at the quality of the other players around him. We'll just break off. I'll be joined with John again very, very shortly. We'll look at Chelsea Villa, of course, a game we're covering on Football Live, and Brighton versus Bournemouth, a good South Coast derby. But we need to head back to the Brentford Community Stage, and Brentford taking on Everton. It was a bit of a scrappy half last we heard, the second half, but since we were last with you, Johnny, it's been absolutely all Everton.
Absolutely all Everton. There's been several chances for the away side, including a golden one for Onana, who heads wide from a McNeil free kick, which is whipped in. It's headed back across goal by Tarkowski. And it's one of those that's just floating deliciously towards the back stick. Keeper's not going to get there. Defender's not going to get there. Onana just about gets there, but he can only head into the side netting from what was admittedly quite a tight angle. And then Decore a few moments later, who could have had a hat-trick today, of course. He scored scored the opener for Everton and crashed a shot against the crossbar, which led to the Brentford equaliser in the first half. He just had another header float just wide, again whipped in by Tarkowski. And Brentford have seen that they need to make changes. Thomas Frank has sent on his namesake, Frank Onyeka. The Nigerian international is on for Brentford. Janelt, who got the assist for the home side, is coming off. Can he change this match? It's going to need changing for Brentford. They're under the cosh here. Brentford 1, Everton 1, 63 minutes played.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much, Johnny. Let's quickly head to Serie A. A 5-goal thriller. Sassuolo 3, Juventus 2 are in the real closing stages. Michael Jeffries, any chance of Juventus snatching a third equaliser in this one?
There is a possibility. We've got 6 minutes added time here, and they have had one golden chance since I last spoke to you, Dean. Moise Keane came on for Vlahovic, hasn't really made too much of an impact. His pace has been expertly marshalled by the Sassuolo backline until just now, where he was in on goal, and he tried just tapping it past the goalkeeper, Alessio Cragno, but Cragno put his whole body on the line and actually saved it with a crotch. It looked like quite a painful one for him. But he's managed to keep Sassuolo's lead alive, and you can see Juventus getting more and more frustrated. Chiesa making cynical fouls, and indeed just fouling people purely out of impatience and trying to kick the ball away and taking their legs out with him. Things like that are really showing how desperate Juventus are to get back in this, but they've only got 3 minutes left to do so. Sassuolo 3, Juventus 2.
Good stuff. Thank you, Michael. Yeah, real frustration for the visitors there. Expected to win this game at an absolute canter, but they caused the shock of the day. Sassuolo, rock bottom of Serie A, leading by 3-2. Meanwhile, there has been another goal.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Well, we said Juventus were struggling. There's been a 6th goal in the game between Sassuolo and Juventus. And it's gone to the home team. They're surely going to get all 3 points now, Michael.
Yeah, do you know what? This has just been purely that Juventus have piled on the pressure, and Sassuolo have had an opportunity to counter-attack here. It's a recent substitution. Defrel, who came on for Badrami, who's had a brilliant game so far. This might be one of Defrel's first touches, to be honest. And he's hit it against the bar. He's just gone over the line and then bounced back out. And it was hard to tell whether it actually went in or not. But it has, and it's been given. So, yeah, Sassuolo 4, Juventus 2.
Well, just hang on a minute. I believe there's a VAR check going on in that game between Sassuolo and Juventus. Sassuolo's 4th goal is just being investigated by VAR. Meanwhile, at the Brentford Community Stadium, there has been a 3rd goal.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
And it's the visitors who have retaken the lead from a corner to make it Brentford 1, Everton 2. Tarkowski with the goal to give the visitors the lead there. It's a shock in Italy. It's potentially a shock at the Brentford Community Stadium. The away fans are in absolute raptures. Let's join Johnny Holmes to describe how that goal went down.
Oh, Everton, they've huffed and they've puffed and finally they blow the house down. It's a corner whipped in by McNeil there. His balls have been brilliant. His dead balls today have been very pinpoint, very accurate. And this one is no different. It's whipped right into a dangerous area. Flecken doesn't come for it. He's rooted to the spot and into the air rises Tarkowski for Everton. Rises higher than anyone around him and nods it past the goalkeeper. Everton have had shot after shot after shot. And this one finds the net. Tarkowski scores. Brentford 1, Everton 2, 67 minutes played here.
Well, Sean Dyche hasn't won a game as manager in the Premier League since in August and September since 2019. He's on course. His team are on course for all 3 points in this one with quarter of the game left. It's Brentford 1, Everton 2. I can tell you that the goal has been given in the game. Sassuolo 4, Juventus 2 has been, that is the goal that has been given. But of course, the goals as they go in, and there have been so many of them because you're listening to Football Live.
You are listening to Football Live.
Sports Radio 88.9 Brila FM.
Take Brila anywhere, everywhere.
Yes, you can take Brila with you anywhere, everywhere.
The Brila app is available for free download on Google Play. It is also there on the Apple iTunes Store. Yes, on Google Play and the Apple iTunes Store.
Look out for the Brila football and microphone logo with the letters BRILA in green colour.
That is our authentic app. It gives you Brila FM, Brila.net, BrilaSports.tv and all the extra betting tips, live score, plus our Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Google Plus and YouTube posts.
Sports fun. You can post your videos and eyewitness reports.
Brila, BRILA. Available for download on Google Play and the Apple iTunes Store.
You are listening to Football Live. Live and exclusive on Brila FM.
The Premier League, the Bundesliga, Serie A, La Liga.
4 hours of football every Saturday and Sunday on Brila FM with Football Live.
You are listening to Football Live on Brila FM 88.9 and 101.1 FM.
Secure an instant win with NairaBet when your team leads by 2 goals in the match. How many times has one of your betting selections had a meltdown after going 2 goals up? Don't stress. With our new 2 goals up market, if your selection goes 2 or more goals ahead at any stage in the match, then your selection will be settled as a winner, regardless of the final match result. Place your bets on the 2 goals up football market at www.nairabet.com. Include the 2 goals up selections in your bet slip with as many other selections as you want. For more details, check out our promotions page. Full terms and conditions apply. Must be over 18. Bets placed on the match winner market do not qualify. Markets available on pre-match bets only. Please gamble responsibly.
You are listening to Football Live.
Coming up tomorrow on Football Live with Chris Baldwin. Arsenal taking on Tottenham Hotspur. Aston Villa go to Chelsea. Live and exclusive on Brila FM. Let's get back to the action on Football Live. Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Dean Kilford.
Well, you are listening to Football Live. We're known for goals, and there's been a 4th goal at the Brentford Community Stadium.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
And here to tell us about a very special goal on a very special occasion is Johnny Holmes.
Instant impact. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who's been sent on but moments ago for his 250th Everton appearance, and what a way to mark it. Dilly-dallying at the back there, the Brentford defence, and the ball is slid through to Calvert-Lewin, and he shows his teammates, this is how you finish your chances. He's only had 1 sniff today. It's his first sniff today. It's his first goal today on his 250th appearance. Everton 3, Brentford 1. Surely Sean Dyche is going to get all 3 points here. 71 minutes played.
Oh, what a touch and finish. It was just his first touch since coming on was to take it out of his feet. His second was to slot it through the legs of the Brentford goalkeeper to make it Brentford 1, Everton 3. In the celebrations there, he nearly took out one of his own teammates who leapfrogged him over his back, and he cracked his head, but thankfully to say he's okay. Brentford surely on course for their first win of the season. Meanwhile, let's go back over to Italy. The game between Sassuolo and Juventus has finished by 4 goals to 2, but not quite the circumstances we thought last time we were with you, Michael Jeffries.
I don't even know where to begin with this, Dean. The goal that Defrel scored actually did not cross the line. It hit the bar and was just narrowly still on the line, bounced out, so VAR reversed it. And then, I don't really know how to explain this next bit, but the goalkeeper went to take a free kick by the corner flag, which is, all quite normal. He passes it to Gatti, and Gatti decides to pass it back to Szczesny, who wasn't in the goal. So Gatti just passed it back into an open goal, and that's where the 4th goal for Sassuolo came from. And now, that's where we leave us with Sassuolo 4, Juventus 2 at the final whistle.
Unbelievable scenes, unbelievable game. 6 goals shared in that game. Can you put down that 90 minutes into words for us, Michael? It just was a game that no one saw coming.
I mean, I think the Szczesny howler at the very start of this game set the precedent for how it went on. It was a comedy of errors, Dean. It was just constant back and forth between these two sides, constant errors, own goals galore. I don't think either side will walk away with this particularly pleased with the side's performance. There were some great moments of flair and attacking prowess, but so many errors from both of them that there's so much defensive work that will need to be done going into next week's games if either of them are going to get a result.
Indeed. And Sassuolo getting their first victory of the season, that climbs up. How do you see them taking this result into their next few fixtures in the league? Surely bring some confidence, and the way they've played goes against everything that we've seen from them so far this season.
It's a tough one to predict because I would have said that for Juventus going into this one. They beat Lazio last time out 3-1, but a lot of people did suggest that, like in seasons past, they would have a dip today after such a success last week, and I wonder if the same will happen going forward, where Juventus will actually bounce back and hopefully win in their next game, whereas Sassuolo will now look like quite a serious threat, beating Juventus today by a 2-goal margin. I wonder if they'll struggle in the next game because they won't be underestimated by their opponents, and they will be taken quite seriously as a dangerous opponent to deal with.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much, Michael Jeffries, there, reporting us on the game between Sassuolo and Juventus. Sassuolo coming away 4-2 victors. They were always involved in high-scoring games last season, and it's just about to continue in this season, or certainly by how today's standards are. Meanwhile, let's go back to the game at the Brentford Community Stadium, where last we heard it was 3-1 to Everton, but Michael Oliver has been involved in one of the strangest passages of play that we've seen for a long time.
It's a brilliant defensive block, but it's not by a Brentford player, it's not by an Everton player, it's referee Michael Oliver affecting the play, and Brentford fans will be gutted about this one. A ball comes through and Jordan Pickford's in two minds about whether he picks this one up or clears it away, as it's right on the edge of his box. He doesn't take the risk, he clears his lines, and it falls straight to Brentford in the midfield. Norgard on the ball, takes a touch, he's about to pull the trigger, and out of nowhere appears Michael Oliver to pretty much block any opportunity for him to get the shot away into what was an open goal. Michael Oliver looks rather sheepishly at the Brentford players. He clasps their hands, he says his apologies. I'm not sure if they will mean too much. That could have been a goal to get Brentford right back into this one. It's still Brentford 1, Everton 3, 76 minutes played.
Brilliant stuff. Brentford 1, Everton 3. Everton looking on course for their first 3 points of the season. John Kane, our producer, predictor, we're telling you the latest from Narrowbets, chose 4-1 as one of the scores he read out. I think it was odds of 67 points plus for that scoreline. They're just one goal and 13 minutes away potentially from achieving that feat. So looking into the crystal ball and into the future, our producer John Kane. Let's just catch up with the other games going on at the moment in the Liga. The game that we're featuring, Barcelona 0, Celta Vigo 1. Or is it? Because Celta Vigo have just scored.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Celta Vigo doubling their lead and absolutely shocking Barcelona with a second goal. Anastasios Dovicas with the goal from close range, just slotting beyond the keeper to double the visitors' lead there and send shockwaves through Spanish football. That certainly was a goal and a result that no one saw coming, particularly when you look at that front line. Barcelona were undefeated going into this one. Celta Vigo with just the one victory so far this season. As it stands, Barcelona would remain 3 points off Girona, who had that stunning 5-3 victory over Mallorca earlier on in the lunchtime kickoff. Real Madrid in second place, they've got the perfect 5 from 5 records, very similar to Manchester City in the Premier League. Can anyone stop the juggernauts, the Galacticos? Well, it doesn't look like it's going to be Barcelona. They've got to find 2 goals and very, very quickly if they're going to get anything from this game. In the Bundesliga in Germany, Werder Bremen have come from behind to take the lead against FC Köln. And Unjima scored a second goal for them just about 20 minutes to go. So just a couple of minutes ago, he scored that second goal to complete the comeback. FC Köln were leading after half an hour through Selke, but Borre's equaliser just before the break gave Werder Bremen some hope, and Njima has scored the second for them to give them a 2-1 advantage, and Werder Bremen on course for 3 points in the Bundesliga. Big result for them if they were to hold on. In League One in France, or Ligue 1, a big result today saw Nantes win by 5-3 from Lorient, which sees Nantes go up to 6th in the table, level on points with Paris Saint-Germain. It's a big victory that also sees Lorient here near the bottom of the table with 6 points from their opening 6 games. In the Premier League, well, the early games we featured, it was Crystal Palace 0, Fulham 0, Luton 1, Wolves 1, Manchester City 2, Nottingham Forest 0. The game going on at the moment is Brentford versus Everton at the Brentford Community Stadium. It's Brentford 1, Everton 3, but there's been another chance for Brentford to get back in it, Johnny Holmes.
Absolutely. Brentford seem to have woken up from their second half slumber after Everton made it 3-1 from that Calvert-Lewin strike. They're finally starting to get the ball on the deck and pass it around and keep possession and make something happen, and they just did very nearly get a goal back there. It was Brian Mbeumo with the volley as the ball is floated across from Godos. He's got a bit of time to eye it up, a bit of time to work out what he's going to go for. He goes for the side foot, and in the end, a rather tame effort passed straight into the accepting gloves of Jordan Pickford. It remains Brentford 1, Everton 3, and there's only 10 minutes of normal time still to go here.
Well, 10 minutes of normal time plus whatever stoppages there might be, and stoppages for goals and celebrations for Everton that might count against them should Brentford get a goal back. Let's bring back in John Kane to carry on our discussion about tomorrow afternoon's Premier League fixtures that we're covering right here on Football Live. We've discussed the North London derby, we've discussed the 4th versus 6th, Liverpool versus West Ham. Another team that are putting up trees are Brighton Hove Albion, who have just lost the one game this season and, of course, dismantled Manchester United at Old Trafford last weekend. But a disappointing result in the Europa League on Thursday night at home against AEK Athens, or AEK Athens, I should say. Their first foray into Europe, a club that nearly went out of the Football League just 16 years ago. To see them in the heavy heights of European football was something that most Seagulls fans wouldn't have believed in their wildest dreams. They're playing a team that also spent majority of their history in the lower leagues in AFC Bournemouth. A big South Coast derby that we used to be more seen in League One rather than League Six. But meanwhile, we will just break away because there's been another goal in Spain.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Barcelona have been stunned into life, and Robert Lewandowski has smashed an absolute thrashing ball into the back of the net. It is actually just being checked for VAR, but as it stands, without VAR intervention, it's Barcelona 1, Celta Vigo 2. I'll update you when that check is complete. Meanwhile, I was bringing John in to talk about Brighton versus Bournemouth, and that's what we'll do right now. A South Coast derby, I said one that we were used to seeing in the lower leagues, and that goal has been given, by the way. Barcelona have got a goal back through Robert Lewandowski. Bournemouth are a dangerous team. A team that play attacking football, a team that know how to score goals, a team that held Chelsea to a goalless draw last time out and were full value for it. How do you rate their chances at the Amex Stadium against Brighton?
I think you look on paper, isn't it, and you think this is Brighton, isn't it? 3 points. I can't see it going any other way. They're playing beautiful football, isn't it? I mean, Graham Potter sort of set up Brighton to what they are. Then he left to go to Chelsea, and De Zerbi came in to take over. And all of a sudden, De Zerbi is actually not only just being a brilliant manager in a top club that is actually possibly fighting for top four, that's the way it's going, but they are in Europe, and Graham Potter is out of the job. You just could not make it out, can you? But as far as Brighton, Bournemouth, yeah, there's a bit of a rivalry. South Coast, both not far from each other, but at the end of the day, I think the talent of Brighton at home is going to be too much for Bournemouth. Brighton are a different level. Bournemouth sort of still kind of building up with a new manager. They've still got a long way to go, haven't they? Trying to get something to establish themselves in the Premier League back again after the days of Eddie Howe. I can't see any other result but Brighton win tomorrow.
Well, just to put a little question on that one, Lewis Dunk missed out through injury that game against AK Athens. You saw how exposed they were defensively. There's a chance that he may well miss the game on Sunday, and that does make a big change. Lewis Dunk's been pretty much an ever-present for Brighton since they were promoted to the Premier League. That could give Bournemouth a sign of opportunity, particularly with a player of the calibre of Dominic Solanke, who does continuously seem to find the net, even when Bournemouth were struggling.
Yeah, I mean, Lewis Dunk, if he doesn't play tomorrow, it would be a big loss, and we noticed that during the European game. He's actually one of the unsung heroes, isn't he, in the Premier League? I mean, everyone talks about all these big names in defence, but Lewis Dunk always miss out, and I think it's because of the club that he plays for. But I would have a mighty Medida. He's absolutely brilliant defender, and I think Brighton, if they know they're actually gonna sort of have that injury running tomorrow, I think that will show De Zerbi's a talent as a manager on what to do next, who to bring in instead. And managers, yes, they do get paid for winning the games. They also get paid for making big decisions like that, especially to replace a rock like Lewis Dunk. But I think even with the injury of Lewis Dunk, and like you mentioned, yeah, I appreciate with the intelligence off front for Dominic Solanke for Bournemouth. I think Brighton's still going to be too strong. Maybe Bournemouth will score a goal, but I think in the end of the day, Brighton are too strong for them, especially at home.
The Zerbi ball indeed should get the Seagulls 3 points against the Cherries. Some team news coming in for Burnley against Manchester United. I think the interesting one is the change of formation for the visitors. McTominay, Casemiro and Medjbri make a midfield trio behind Fernandes, who will support Højlund and Rashford as a front two. So a bit of a change in formation for them. For Burnley, no real surprise in their lineup. They remain unchanged from the team that drew 1-1, didn't they, on Monday night's football against Nottingham Forest. Unchanged team for Burnley. Manchester United, slight change of personnel, slight change of formation for them in that one. It'll be an interesting one. How do you see that one going, John? Oh, meanwhile, sorry, I need to break away because there's been a fourth goal in the game between Barcelona and Celta Vigo.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Well, if you thought the shot was on, think again. Lewandowski has doubled his tally. 2 goals in 5 minutes for Lewandowski, and Barcelona have come from 2 goals down to level things at 2 apiece, and there's still 5 minutes to play. He really is a goal machine, the Polish striker. 2 goals for him in this game, which sees Barcelona come from 2 goals down to level things at 2 apiece. It's his third of the season in the opening 5 games. So just going back to John, we will just preview quickly the Burnley-Manchester United game. We've just seen the 2 lineups. Slight change of formation. 2 up front for Manchester United. Is that Erik ten Hag responding to the pressure of the poor start his team have had?
I think he's going to have to change something, isn't he? The results that are coming in the last few games is not acceptable for the club as big as Manchester United, regardless of the circumstances, regardless of who the manager is, regardless of who the players are. It is Manchester United, and to go through that kind of run of bad results in as a club is not acceptable. Yes, there is issues. There is issues with the Glazers. There's issues with some of the players, discipline-wise. Other related issues to football, and I appreciate that. But in the day, Manchester United should be bigger than that, and he has to do something. And I think, I can't see Eric Ten Hag getting sacked because he sort of steadied the ship, didn't he? He started a bad result so far in this season, and I think it's less than what the fans were expecting. Onana, David De Gea was sort of a calamity, and I appreciate that. But Onana hasn't been any better, hasn't he? And as good as goalkeeper he is, and I've seen him in the Serie A with Inter, and he's a really good goalkeeper. But this season, the goal that he gave away, it wasn't just a one, wasn't it? It was more than one, and more than one mistake that can cost the team dearly. And but credit to him, he apologised and he admitted it was his fault, didn't he? And I think today is going to be the day when actually all these players have to stand up and fight for their club. I know that Fernandes, Casemiro haven't been the best of times, haven't they? Playing wise, yes, Casemiro scored in the last game, but you actually watch the way that he's been playing. It's more or less bit invisible, and all these players need to step up. They earn a lot of money in that club, in a big club, one of the biggest clubs in the world. They need to make a stand.
Indeed, they need to make a stand. Just a quick word on Burnley. They play a certain style of football. Vincent Kompany's said it might take time for them to adapt to the Premier League, so we know how they're going to play. They try and play expansive attacking football. That might just fall into Manchester United's hands.
Yeah, Vincent Kompany, I don't think nothing else. Actually, just before talking about Vincent Kompany, there's been a goal at Barcelona, hasn't it?
There has been a goal at Barcelona just moments ago. We spoke about Lewandowski scoring 2 in 5 minutes. Well, you're not going to believe this. It's 3-2 to Barcelona. We're just waiting to see who got the final touch. It's João Felix, the man who's credited with the third goal.
By NairaBet.
Apologies there. I got far too excited talking over that one. It's João Cancelo, the man who has been awarded the goal. I'll just get confirmation of that one. But Barcelona have scored 3 goals in just 6 minutes to complete an absolute stunning turnaround in this game. Celta Vigo with 2 goals up with 15 minutes to play. 3 goals in 5 minutes. 6 minutes have seen Barcelona turn this game on its head, and maybe we wrote them off too soon. Right, let's go back to the Brentford Community Stadium, and we will just catch up with the latest. We're going into the final stage of the game between Brentford and Everton.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a cagey one since Everton went 3-1 up. It seems like it's fizzling out this game towards a victory for the away side. Brentford have woken up ever so slightly and have tried to threaten the Everton goal since, of course, Dominic Calvert-Lewin made it 3-1 to the away side. But they haven't really been able to test Jordan Pickford at all. There's been no real spark. There's been no real sign that Everton are under any pressure in the last few minutes of this game. 6 minutes have been added on, but this one seems to be fading away towards 3 points for Everton. It's Brentford 1, Everton 3, 92 minutes played with 6 in total added on.
Good stuff. Thank you very much, Johnny. So we will be back in Nigeria as soon as the final whistle goes in that game. Brony FJ and the team there. So Brentford 1, Everton 3. We're in the 92nd minute. Just a few minutes left to go there. I can tell you in Germany, it's still injury time in the game between Werder Bremen and FC Köln. Werder Bremen leading by 2-1 there in the game between Barcelona and Celta Vigo. Unbelievably, Barcelona have come from behind to lead this one 3-2. We're in the 2nd minute of added time there. We're very final throws of the game between Brentford and Everton. Brentford really trying to piled the pressure on and throw balls into the box without any real accuracy. There was just about 90 seconds or so to go in that one. So that gives us enough time to recap all of the scores we've had here on Football Live. We'll start with the English Premier League, where it finished Crystal Palace 0, Fulham 0. It finished Luton Town 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1. Wolverhampton Wanderers were down to 10 men early in the first half. They took the lead, though, through Nunes just after the break. Luton equalised through Morris from the penalty spot before having a goal disallowed for VAR. Manchester City 2, Nottingham Forest 0. Manchester City with a 2-goal lead in the first half, an early goal for Phil Foden, and then Erling Haaland scored his customary goal to make it 8-6 for him. Rodri was sent off at the start of the second half. Forest put some pressure on but couldn't find a way through it. Finished 2-0 to Manchester City, who maintained their perfect record in the Premier League. It's currently Brentford 1, Everton 3 in the game that's kicking. The game that's about a minute or so left to play there. In Germany, the featured game they were covering is Bayern Munich 7, Bochum 0, a result that sees Harry Kane score his hat-trick in his Bayern Munich colours for the very, very first time. And in Serie A, the game we're covering is just finished. An absolute thriller. Sassuolo 4, Juventus 2. A quite thrilling game there between those two. And Sassuolo with the surprise victory to see them stun Juventus in the evening kickoff. So it has finished in the game between Werder Bremen and FC Köln. It's finished Werder Bremen 2, FC Köln 1. It's still playing in the game between Barcelona and Celta Vigo. We're into the 4th additional minutes of added time there. We're into the 6th minute of added time in the Brentford Community Stadium. 6 minutes were added. It's Brentford 1, Everton 3. That game very, very nearly finished in that one. And we will go and join Johnny as soon as the full-time whistle goes on that game. And of course, we will rejoin the studio in Nigeria soon as the final whistle has blown on that one. So that leaves Manchester City atop of the Premier League. All the other teams in and around the top 4 not playing. So that sees Man City extend their lead to 5 points. 18 they've got from 6 games, the maximum available. Tottenham, Liverpool and Arsenal all on 13. Then it's Brighton in 5th place with 12. And then West Ham, who take on Liverpool, some crucial games, some crunchy games tomorrow on 10 points. Mid-table was really where all the games finished this afternoon. Crystal Palace and Fulham jump above Nottingham Forest. Brentford losing at home to Everton, which would see Everton climb out of the bottom 3 and up to 15th in the table, above Wolves on goal difference. Wolves, of course, drawing earlier with Luton Town, who pick up the first point of the season, but remain bottom of the table in the Premier League. Burnley, of course, could climb out of the bottom 3 themselves if they were to get a result in the late game against Manchester United. That game kicking off at about 8 p.m, so just over half an hour's time. We're still playing at the Brentford Community Stadium. We're now into the 8th minutes of added time, and the final whistle has gone. Brentford 1, Everton 3. Let's quickly go and join Johnny Holmes for a full-time update.
Yes, in the end, Everton were able to take their chances. They showed glimpses of goal in the first half. One from Abdoulaye Doucouré in the 6th minute, but Matthias Jensen against the run of play after Doucouré had hit the bar, went down the other end and scored an equaliser. But in the second half, it's been at a canter for the away side. James Tarkowski heading home and Dominic Calvert-Lewin on his 250th appearance for Everton, sticking the ball in the back of the net to make it 3-1, and that is how it has finished here. Everton by far the better side, definitely deserving of their first 3 points of the season. Full time here, Brentford 1, Everton 3.
Thanks very much, Johnny. We'll hand you back over to the team in Nigeria. Thank you, FJ, guys. Thank you very much for listening. You've been listening to Dean Kilford and Football Live.
Today's show was produced by John Kane and powered by Hollandia Javita and our official betting partner, NairaBet.
We good, John?